The world I knew, gone in a flash of lightning, monsters tearing it all down. Pure nightmares exploded onto the scene, forcing humanity to fight or be devoured. Every day was a battle for survival against these raging beasts. My entire life became a brutal dance with death, a constant struggle against these relentless nightmares. No time for dreams, only survival. Bruised and bleeding, I stood tall, my sword ready, because giving up was never an option. The fight continued. The days blurred into an endless cycle, each sunrise bringing new horrors to face. Just another Tuesday. Months bled into years, the monsters growing stronger, but so did I. My sword became an extension of my will. Years passed, each one painting a new scar, forging me into something unbreakable. The endless fight was my only reality. A decade of relentless slaughter, and it felt like nothing. The world was a graveyard, and I was the lone survivor. My sword became the ultimate equalizer, cutting down anything in my path. Fear was a distant memory. Just when I thought I had seen it all, a true behemoth emerged from the shadows. The ultimate test had arrived. "Give up," whispers the colossal foe, telling me my world is long dead. But even with glowing red eyes, I couldn't accept it. The scene shifts to his past. This is the mastermind, a young man, covered in blood but still standing. Such a waste of talent, the monstrous figure sneers, offering a chilling proposition. "Become my sword," he demands, trying to break my spirit. My face twists in defiance, blood dripping as I snarl back. "Don't make me laugh," I declare, spitting on his offer. With a primal scream, I charge, my body a blur of speed and fury. He has no idea what's coming. My fist slams into the monster's colossal arm, a defiant strike echoing through the inferno. "Take that, big guy." His massive form recoils, a rare look of shock crossing his monstrous face. He didn't see that coming. Not stopping, I follow up with a devastating swing, my blade a streak of light. This is just the beginning. The blade grinds against his arm, sparks flying, as his chilling voice echoes, "You're nothing more than an insect," he mocks. A gut-wrenching cry escapes my lips as I'm thrown back, the pain searing through me. This fight just got serious. Thrown back by the monster's sheer power, I soared across the molten ground. That hit definitely left a mark. But I wasn't out yet, my eyes locked on the colossal beast, ready to defy gravity and deliver another blow. He was immense, but I was fearless. Before I could recover, the monster unleashed a devastating shockwave, tearing through the very air. This guy just wouldn't quit. Crumpled on the ground, every fiber of my being screamed in agony. This monster was built different, but so was my will to fight. The behemoth stood over me, his form glowing with menacing power, ready to end it all. My worst nightmare, standing tall. His shadow loomed, a cold dread washing over me as his hand reached out. Was this really how it all ended? A final, crushing blow descended from the heavens, tearing through the very fabric of the world. My vision blurred as time seemed to slow. His monstrous face filled my vision, and with my last breath, I cursed him. You bastard," I roared. As the finality of it all crashed down, one desperate plea escaped my lips: "Oh, stop." And then, silence. I lay defeated, broken amidst the ashes of my world, the fight finally over. Just moments after my defeat, a brilliant light streaked across the dark sky, a magnificent yet terrifying sight. What was this, a new beginning or the final curtain call? The scene shifts dramatically, and suddenly, I'm walking familiar city streets, looking like a fresh-faced civilian. Who was this guy, and where did my sword go? A giant sign loomed ahead, announcing Namsan Gate, a B-rank monster zone where civilians are absolutely banned. Looks like I just stumbled into a hero's playground. Despite the blaring warnings about unauthorized entry, I kept walking towards the gate, like a moth to a flame. Rules were clearly meant to be broken. I stood before the imposing gates of the Yongsan district, a strange sense of déjà vu washing over me. This place felt oddly familiar, yet completely alien. Suddenly, a blaring alarm screamed to life as a chilling voice announced my unauthorized entry. Oops, looks like I'm already making waves. One moment I was at the gate, the next I was standing in a tranquil, sun-drenched forest. This gate was way different than anything I'd ever seen. A voice cut through the peaceful quiet, making me flinch. Someone had already spotted me, and I was clearly not alone in here. A team of armed heroes approached, their leader eyeing me with suspicion. "Are you lost or something?" he asked, clearly confused by my sudden appearance. They offered a way out, assuming I was just some lost kid who wandered, and little did they know, I was the last thing from lost, just incredibly out of place. The heroes eye my civilian clothes, clearly unimpressed by my lack of battle gear. My fashion choices are apparently a major concern in a monster zone. They keep scrutinizing me, even muttering about porters, completely missing the fact I just survived an apocalypse. Apparently, my white tea is more shocking than my sudden appearance. Now they're baffled by my backpack, probably wondering why I'm not carrying some epic weapon. It's just a backpack, people, not a dimensional portal. My simple sandals are drawing even more confused stares, making them assume I'm some abandoned rookie. Little do they know, these sandals have seen more bloodshed than their entire squad. I try to explain my situation, but it sounds even more ridiculous than their theories. Just landed, fresh from a world-ending brawl, no big deal. One hero triumphantly declares I was ditched, completely ignoring my words. They've already written my tragic backstory. The leader shuts down their chatter, giving me a stern lecture about my apparent naivete. He's seen my type before, apparently. He continues his lecture, explaining how dangerous this C-rank gate is and lecturing me on getting a license. Clearly, he thinks I'm just some internet wannabe. I stare back, deadpan, acknowledging his well-meaning advice with zero gratitude. My patience was wearing thin. My blunt response leaves the hero team stunned and speechless. Guess thank you wasn't in my vocabulary today. One of the heroes completely lost it, screaming about what kind of crazy bastard I was. Clearly, my bluntness wasn't winning any popularity contests. The leader decided I was a lost cause, saying I just have to learn the hard way. Oh, they had no idea how much learning I'd already done. They think a gate is some kind of show, something you see on TV or the internet. They're about to get a rude awakening. This merciless world they're warning me about, I've lived in it for a decade. Their little C-rank gate is just a walk in the park. Suddenly, a massive, horned beast materialized, confirming this gate wasn't just a scenic forest walk. Finally, some real action. The monster let out a terrifying quote, its glowing eyes fixed on me. This was going to be a quick lesson for the locals. The beast charged, a hulking mass of fury, its speed defying its size. Good thing I was built different. My eyes flashed gold, reflecting the countless battles I'd fought. 10 years of pure, unadulterated combat, all for this moment. I moved, a blur of motion, my fist drawing back for a single, decisive blow. This monster had no idea what was coming. And just like that, the colossal monster was down, a casual mess of green and red on the forest floor. Next time, maybe they'll believe me. He looks at the defeated monster, its blood on his hand, thinking this world's threats were child's play. Not a single thing is different, he muses, barely breaking a sweat. My eyes caught a glint in the forest, and I instinctively reached for a familiar blade. Where did this even come from? I carved out the monster's core, a reflex from countless battles, leaving a bloody mess in my wake. Just another day, just another drop. A low-grade magic stone glowed in my hand, something I wouldn't have even bothered with in my old life. This was barely worth the effort. Before I could even sigh, more of these monsters arrived, a whole gang of them, looking ready for a beatdown. Apparently, word of my arrival hadn't reached them yet. They barely had time to blink before I charged, a blur of motion, sending one flying with a casual kick. This was too easy. Another one hit the dirt, a splattering of green blood. As the battle continued, these guys really needed to hit the gym. I danced through the fray, dodging and striking with effortless precision, turning their charge into a chaotic ballet of pain. It was almost boring. Meanwhile, the heroes who warned me about the dangers of this C-rank gate were still cautiously patrolling. They were blissfully unaware of the chaos I just unleashed. One of the heroines looked around, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. That rude guy from earlier, she murmured, a hint of confusion on her face. The orange-haired heroine wonders if I'll actually kick the bucket, while her buddy calls her out. Seems like someone's getting soft. The leader hero calmly explains the protocol, dismissing any concerns. He's clearly confident in their system. Back at the control center, elite agents are already on the move, rushing to the scene. These guys are supposedly the cavalry. This might be a C-rank gate, but apparently, they're sending in the big guns. B-rank agents or higher sounds like overkill for what I'm doing. The leader hero confidently states I'll be fine as long as I don't lose my mind and rush into monsters. Oh, the irony. Meanwhile, the heroes are convinced I'm shaking in my boots, waiting for rescue. Little do they know, someone else is about to start shaking. But instead of me shaking, a monster suddenly gets a brutal fist to the face. Guess someone skipped the rescue party and went straight to business. I launched into the air, a blur of motion, ready to deliver a devastating kick. This monster was about to learn a very hard lesson. My kick connected with bone-shattering force, sending the monster's head exploding in a spray of green blood. Who needs a sword when you've got feet of fury? My eyes glowed, 3 more magic stones absorbed, and the hunt continued. This was barely a warm-up. He surveyed the quiet forest, musing that the harvest wasn't great and listing the few low-grade magic stones he'd collected. This C-rank gate was seriously underwhelming. Suddenly, a voice pierced the calm, calling this way, pulling his attention from his disappointing loot. What was it now? A squad of agents in slick suits and shades emerged from the foliage, looking way too serious for a casual stroll. These guys probably thought they were hot stuff. They announced themselves from the gate control center and demanded his hero registration ID. If he was unregistered, he had to go with them to their center. He blinked, repeating gate control center with a deadpan expression. Bureaucracy was definitely not something he'd dealt with in the apocalypse. The lead agent glared, sternly insisting he comply with their instructions. He just wondered what new annoyance this world had cooked up. He turned his back to them, muttering how annoying. Under his breath he had monsters to clear, not paperwork to fill out. One agent snapped, yelling get the cuffs, while another fumbled to produce them clearly. His indifference was rubbing them the wrong way. A pair of handcuffs dangled, clinking invitingly, but he remained utterly unfazed. Good luck trying to cuff a guy who just soloed a C-rank gate. They warned him about physical force and taking responsibility for any injuries, urging him to resolve things calmly. This was going to be anything but calm. He simply stared at the agent's hand, his eyes cold, warning them, "Don't bother me, just leave." One agent sneered, while his partner looked furious. Clearly, his dismissal didn't sit well with them. The agents crossed their batons, electricity crackling around them. As he casually walked away, they were about to learn a shocking lesson. A rank 4 magic seal hummed with power, but he scoffed internally. That might work on simple monsters, but he was no orc. Before they could react, he twisted an agent's arm with brutal force, eliciting a pain-filled scream. This was just a warm-up. His face shadowed, a dark intensity in his eyes. He gave them one last chance, final warning. He looked back, his eyes glowing with dormant power. If you don't want to get hurt, go back, he warned them again. Two agents charged, their electrified batons striking, but he casually deflected them with his bare forearms, sparks flying. These guys were trying too hard. He launched himself into the air, delivering a swift kick straight to an agent's face, sending him flying. This was less a fight, more a demonstration. He ducked under a swing and simultaneously landed a devastating low blow, leaving another agent crumpling to the ground. They clearly weren't built for this. As the agent crumpled, I casually strode past, leaving him to contemplate his career choices on the forest floor. Another one bites the dust. The lead agent, face contorted in rage, looked utterly disgusted by my effortless takedown. "Oh, you're just getting started." His rage quickly turned to confusion as he realized I had vanished. Just like that, guess he missed my speed class. Before he could even process my disappearance, I was right behind him, delivering a lightning-fast blow to his back. "Surprise, buddy." The agent coughed and choked, collapsing to his knees, utterly defeated by a guy in sandals and a t-shirt. This was almost too easy. He looked up, bewildered, asking me, "You ugh yes?" Clearly, he didn't know what hit him. I leaned in, casually asking if registered heroes faced any issues unless they committed illegal acts within the gate. "Just gathering intel." His eyes widened in shock as I casually dropped the term rift zones. "Clearly, I just hit a nerve. Turns out, these gates are actually passages to other worlds, spitting out bizarre monsters and valuable energy resources." Who knew this world was so efficient? And the truly untouched, dangerous places, not yet controlled by humanity, are grimly known as rift zones. Sounds like my kind of vacation spot. He connects the dots, realizing no matter which gate he goes to, these bureaucratic busybodies will track him. Looks like his vacation just got an annoying chaperone. He scoffs, already predicting their tiresome accusations of trespassing and unauthorized entry. Clearly, this new world has way too many rules. The flustered agent nervously confirms their rules, explaining how every unauthorized entry gets reported. This guy just can't catch a break from the paperwork police. The agent, now visibly panicked, tries to warn him about the inaccessible rift zones and the Hero Association. Looks like someone's finally realizing who they're dealing with. He looks down at the defeated agent, casually brushing off the warnings with a dismissive "Ah, so what?" Bureaucracy and danger, apparently, mean nothing to him. The agent finally loses it, calling him a psycho and regretting not calling for backup earlier. "Too late, buddy, too late." With a casual, powerful kick, he sends another agent flying through the air. These guys really need to learn how to pick their battles. He glances back at the airborne agent, shrugging off the entire exchange with a disdainful, "Such a nobody." They clearly weren't worth his time. The humiliated agent screams his rage from the ground, utterly defeated, this nobody just proved he was anything but. He strolls deeper into the forest, leaving the defeated agents behind. Next time, I'll definitely kill you, one vows, but he's already moved on to bigger things. The scene shifts dramatically, and a desperate cry of his voice, a desperate scream, was the last thing he heard before consciousness slipped away. He felt himself being pulled into an unknown void. Floating lifelessly in the abyss, he surrendered to the cold embrace of what he believed was death itself. There was nothing left. But then, an impossible fall began, his body plummeting headfirst through a bright, unfamiliar sky. He was not dead, but falling towards something new. Suddenly, he stood upright in a serene, cloud-filled expanse, face to face with his own civilian self. One form asked. The civilian figure, Seo Dojin, answered, revealing his name and a shocking truth. The armored form, still upside down, offered a chilling bargain. But the armored figure, with resolute eyes, simply responded. His eyes, filled with a haunting emptiness, confirmed his words. His world was gone, reduced to ruins, a landscape of betrayal and death. 10 years of fighting only ended with him losing everything and everyone he ever loved. The armored version of him hangs upside down, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. All that fighting, he sneers, for nothing. The civilian version flinches, a bead of sweat tracing his temple. He feels the weight of his other self's despair. The civilian turns his back on the crushing truth, his resolve hardening. He might be broken, but his family, they would live differently. The armored form lets out a dismissive sigh, utterly unimpressed by sentimental excuses. So what, he scoffs, his tone cutting. With a sudden, unnerving grin, the civilian presses, demanding a simple answer. What is it you truly desire, he asks, an unsettling excitement in his eyes. He places a hand over his heart, a faint light emanating from within. His true desire was about to be revealed. The scene shifts to a bustling, modern city street, a digital complex in Seoul, a stark contrast to the apocalyptic wasteland. This place, now dubbed the Hero Complex, thrives on the aftermath of Gates, with monster parts trading more actively than tech companies. Money talks, even in a world of monsters. He had a shop advertising high prices for magic stones, pondering his next move. This looked like a good place to offload some loot. Inside, a tattooed man behind the counter greets him with a casual welcome, completely unaware of the apocalypse he just walked out of. He declares his intent to sell mana stones, and the shop owner excitedly brags about his prices. The hero just wanted to offload some loot, not listen to a sales pitch. The shop owner is grossed out by the bloody mana stones. This guy's clearly never dealt with a real monster hunter, just clean-cut heroes. The owner notes the impressive pile of mana stones, while our hero, clearly exhausted, just wants anything to drink. He's already seen too much, just give him the caffeine. The shop owner tallies up the massive haul, but then hits him with a shocking 40% commission fee. This best price place just started looking a lot less appealing. The owner triumphantly reveals the paltry sum of 546 million won, but our hero quickly cuts him off. This best price was a straight-up insult. He snaps, demanding to know why their commission is a staggering 40% when he did all the dangerous work. The shop owner, suddenly flustered, has no good answer. The owner smirks, claiming he's actually getting a discount at 40%, because they usually take 45%. This guy definitely thinks he's slick. The owner challenges him to find a better price, telling him to take his stones back. Our hero simply agrees, already reaching for his bloody loot. The owner grabs his arm, suddenly demanding a ridiculous 300,000 won for a sorting fee and 10,000 for the coffee he casually offered. This was a straight-up shakedown. The owner's demands escalate, now adding a towel cost to the bill, totaling 350,000 won. Our hero's patience snaps, daring the greedy shop owner to try and take it from him. The shop owner, his face a grotesque smirk, dared to threaten him with C-rank heroes. He called our hero a bastard, clearly underestimating the apocalypse survivor he was dealing with. Just then, 3 tough-looking goons arrived, asking if someone was causing trouble. Looks like the shop owner's backup finally showed up. But a moment later, the shop owner's smug expression twisted into pure terror, his eyes wide with horror. Something very bad just happened to his backup. Our hero stood calmly, arms crossed, over the shop owner's crumpled, unconscious body. Looks like that backup didn't last long. A top-down view revealed all 4 tough guys, including the shop owner, sprawled unconscious on the floor. He really made quick work of them, leaving a cracked counter as a testament to his power. He leaned over the terrified, dazed shop owner, who was now clutching a cracked display counter. The commission is 1%, he stated, his voice dangerously calm. With a chillingly confident smirk and glowing eyes, he declared they would have smooth transactions from now on. This was no longer a negotiation, but an order. The next day, the shop sported a massive banner, screaming "No margin event and highest prices for magic stones." Looks like a new management style just dropped. Meanwhile, an older woman and a young girl stood wide-eyed, clearly shocked by something what could have possibly surprised them so much. The woman, holding a massive wad of cash, looked at our hero, Dojin, and asked, "What is all this money?" her voice filled with disbelief. Dojin calmly explains the sudden influx of cash, claiming it's a massive return on a loan to a friend's hugely successful business. Grandma looks utterly skeptical. The grandmother squints, asking if he actually has a friend like that. Clearly unconvinced, Dojin just gives her a knowing, silent smirk. He continues his fabricated tale, referencing a vague place he grew up and a long-lost friend from back then. He's really leaning into this convenient backstory. The grandmother's skepticism softens, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. "Of course, I know," she murmurs, the lie starting to take hold. The little girl, Union, cuts through the tension, bouncing with excitement. "Brother," she asks, "then are we rich now?" her eyes sparkling with hope. Dojin smiles, a genuine warmth replacing his usual stoicism. "Yes," he confirms, gently patting her head, "from now on, we are rich." The grandmother and Yunying burst into pure joy, leaping and celebrating their newfound wealth. Dojin watches them, a quiet satisfaction spreading across his face. The scene shifts to Dojin standing in a cloudy, ethereal space, his past self contemplating his future. He makes a solemn internal promise to protect them both. He pleads for his grandmother and Yunying to live in a house safer than anywhere else, a desperate wish in this mysterious realm. Then, his other self disappears, leaving no answer. He stares at his reflection in a mirror, the face of Seo. Dojin looking back, a young girl in the background embracing him. When he woke up, his new life had begun. He promised them the safest house in Korea, a cool 110 billion won, and while he had no obligation, he wasn't about to break his word. This family was going to be safe, no matter the cost. Yunying clings to him, but his mind is elsewhere, a burning desire for his full strength to return. If only he had his full power back, that outrageous price tag was nothing. Rifts, gates, monsters, everything in this new world was a joke compared to the horrors of his past. He reached out to a phantom flame, remembering true despair. He was once a sword god, battling true nightmares, making this current world feel like a child's playground. These shadows of his past were a constant reminder of what he truly was. His eye glows, a sliver of his true power, but he's nowhere near his peak. Not even 10% of his strength had returned yet, and he was still steamrolling everything. The peace was shattered by a loud, obnoxious voice yelling his name from outside. Grandma and Yunying looked startled, wondering who the heck it could be. With a calm, reassuring smile, Dojin told them to stay inside. He was about to handle this himself. He casually opened the door, revealing two rough-looking thugs standing on his doorstep. Looks like playtime was over. One of the thugs grinned, asking if he remembered to repay his borrowed money. Then the other snapped, yelling about a whopping 48 million won debt. Dojin's expression hardened as he realized these were the loan sharks who hounded the original CEO. Dojin, the 5 million won borrowed for his grandma's hospital bills, had exploded tenfold. The loan sharks, already knowing about his recent haul, aggressively demand he hand over all the money from the gate. They claimed it was all according to some shady contract. The blonde thug smirked, telling Dojin not to feel like it was unfair, as if he had a choice in the matter. His arrogance was about to cost him dearly. Before he could even finish his sentence, Dojin's fist connected with brutal force. The smug look was instantly wiped off the thug's face. The bigger thug lay crumpled on the ground, completely taken out in a single, lightning-fast blow. The other loan shark was left utterly dumbfounded, staring at Dojin in disbelief. Dojin's eyes glowed ominously as he informed the terrified thug he had already overpaid, demanding money back. Instead, he was not here to play games. The blonde thug trembled, barely able to utter Dojin's name, finally realizing this wasn't the weak person they used to bully. He was clearly out of his league. Dojin's gaze hardened, his eyes blazing with a dangerous light as he delivered a chilling message for their boss. He was coming for them, and it wouldn't be pretty. The scene shifts to a bustling, vibrant shopping mall, a stark contrast to the earlier street confrontation. Life here was blissfully normal. Inside a toy store, rows of adorable teddy bears sparkled under the bright lights. It was a place of innocent dreams and wishes. Yunying's eyes widened with pure, unadulterated joy, asking if she could really buy a new doll. Her happiness was utterly contagious. Dojin beams, telling Yunying to buy whatever she wants now that they're done with clothes. This new life was definitely starting to look up. As he shared Seo Dojin's memories, a flicker of something stirred within his hardened heart. A new emotion was blossoming in his dried-up soul. He knew it was still just compassion, but seeing Yunying so happy, surrounded by fluffy teddy bears, was something new for him. This innocent joy was slowly thawing his frozen emotions. The original Seo Dojin cherished Yunying, his half-sister, with pure kindness. This pure bond resonated deep within him. He vowed to protect that pure, kind heart of the original Seo Dojin, no matter what. It was a promise to a past he never lived, but now carried. Yunying, clutching a tiny bunny, looked up at him with pleading eyes. "Brother, can I get this one?" she asked, making his heart ache in a good way. Without a word, he grabbed a massive teddy bear, tossing it over his shoulder like it weighed nothing. This was definitely going home with him. He flashed a grin, reminding her, "I told you to buy what you want." It was a promise, and he was keeping it, teddy bear and all. Yunying's face lit up, a brilliant, unadulterated smile exploding across her features. Pure joy radiated from her, brighter than any magic stone. Later, they sat at a diner, munching on their food, the giant teddy bear chilling in a chair next to Yunying. This new normal felt surprisingly good. As they ate, a voice suddenly piped up, recognizing Dojin with a mix of surprise and certainty. Looks like his peaceful meal was about to be interrupted. A flashy woman in sunglasses, flanked by two hulking bodyguards, stepped into view. Trouble, it seemed, had a new, less subtle face. She sneered, eyeing Dojin's casual outfit with disdain, then shifted her gaze to Yunying. Clearly, this woman had zero chill. Dojin's expression darkened, his eyes glinting dangerously. The woman's casual insult about his mother had just hit a very wrong nerve. Yunying looked up, utterly confused by the sudden aggression and talk of she just wanted to finish her burger in peace. The woman loomed over the table, demanding Yunying's name, like a predator circling its prey. Yunying, ever innocent, answered softly. The woman continued her relentless barrage, mocking Yunying's clothes and calling her pathetic, just like her mother. The insults kept coming, hitting harder each time. She turned her smug face to Dojin, seeking validation for her cruel words. She was pushing her luck, big time. Dojin remained silent, his expression unreadable. As the woman taunted him further, he was clearly brewing something, and it wasn't good. Losing her patience, the woman snapped, yelling directly at Yunying. This was the final straw, and Dojin's quiet fury was about to explode. The woman, completely unhinged, screamed a vile insult at Yunying, asking if she even knew what horror meant. Dojin's fury was about to erupt. Then, Dojin snapped, unleashing a brutal counter-insult, calling the woman an ugly wench like an orc. The air instantly thickened with tension. The woman stood frozen, a bewildered huh escaping her lips as Dojin's words slammed into her. She clearly wasn't expecting that level of comeback. The scene shifts to the original Seo Dojin's tragic past, born out of wedlock and into poverty, until he was finally taken in by his biological father at age 7 after his mother's death. This was the dark origin of his predecessor. He endured over a decade of brutal discrimination and contempt, only to be completely neglected once his father's legal wife bore a son. His entire childhood was a nightmare of loneliness and rejection. Kicked out once again, he found refuge with his maternal grandmother and a half-sibling he'd never even met. This unlikely family became his new, fragile home. Our hero looked at the memory of Seo Dojin, standing resolute amidst the clouds, pondering the sheer strength of heart it took to endure such a brutal past. It was truly unfathomable. He made a silent, fierce vow, his eyes gleaming with resolve. This time, everything would be different. Dojin stared down at the stunned woman, his voice laced with venom. He coldly declared that even after 12 years of living together, she still utterly disgusted him. Her face contorted in horror as Dojin relentlessly tore into her, dissecting her looks, her twisted personality, and her dumb brain. He called her completely hopeless, leaving her utterly speechless. Dojin continues his brutal verbal assault, cutting deep into her insecurities. Even her bodyguards look utterly stunned by his savage honesty. "You're no better than this girl," Dojin declares, praising Yunying's genuine kindness and concern. Her innocent gaze makes his words hit even harder. Dojin finishes his scathing comparison, highlighting Yunying's selfless care for her brother's financial state. The entire diner is now watching the explosive scene unfold. The woman's face contorts in fury, her earlier confidence shattered by Dojin's words. "What did you say?" she shrieks, absolutely livid. Just as the tension peaks, another elegant woman strolls in, her calm voice cutting through the chaos. "Dojin, it's been a while," she says, her presence instantly shifting the mood. The furious woman instantly points at Dojin, screaming MOM at the newcomer. Looks like mommy just showed up, and she's walking into a mess. The enraged woman bursts into tears, clinging to the elegant newcomer and whining about Dojin's insults. Enough, the elegant woman commands, her voice sharp with displeasure. The elegant woman's eyes flash with fury, telling her daughter to stay out of it. She then mutters about the uncultured behavior she's witnessing, clearly disgusted. Then, to Dojin's surprise, she offers a polite, almost menacing smile. So, Dojin, she purrs, have you been doing well, her tone chillingly sweet. She subtly rebukes him for not visiting, playing the role of a concerned relative, but Dojin's internal thoughts scream hypocrite, recognizing her as his greatest tormentor from the past. The elegant woman's fake concern for his father, worries about him so much too, is met with Dojin's internal disgust. Makes me sick, he thinks, seeing right through her act. Dojin's eyes blaze, cutting straight to the point. We're not in the kind of relationship to ask about each other, right, he asserts, his voice dripping with icy disdain. His face hardens, and he delivers the ultimate dismissal. Get lost, he snarls, leaving no room for argument. The elegant woman's daughter is utterly shocked, her jaw dropped, as Dojin calmly stands his ground. His bluntness has clearly left them reeling. The elegant woman's internal thoughts are a flurry of disbelief. Is this really the CEO Dojin I know, she wonders, shocked that the timid boy who once bowed even for no reason is gone. She quickly turns on her heel, striding away with her daughter scrambling behind, yelling for her to wait. The bodyguards follow, leaving Dojin alone. Dojin turns to Yunying, a soft smile replacing his harsh expression, telling her it's time to go. The old CEO Dojin, who once endured such mistreatment, is gone, he thinks, replaced by someone utterly different. Under the vast night sky, Dojin's gaze hardens. It would be in their best interest to realize that as soon as possible, he thinks, his resolve firm. Inside the car, the daughter rages, demanding to know why they just left and insisting they should have crushed that bastard. Her fury is palpable. The daughter continues her angry tirade, recounting Dojin's harsh words, while her mother calmly touches up her makeup without looking. She coolly calls out for Chief Lee. The mother's calm facade shatters, revealing her sinister inner thoughts. She's reeling from a single, terrifying question: why is Dojin still alive? Chief Lee, calm and bald, drops a bombshell. Apparently, Dojin was left for dead in a rift zone, a place nobody survives. The daughter explodes in fury, screaming about how Dojin should be dead. Her rage confirms a dark history. Chief Lee apologizes, promising to re-investigate, as the daughter's shocked face demands answers. The daughter's desperate questions hang in the air, but her mother remains chillingly silent. A chilling calm before a storm. An overhead shot reveals the tension inside the car. A horrified question echoes. The daughter's face flushes, her mind reeling from the accusation. The car speeds away as the daughter frantically denies everything. She's terrified of what happens if grandpa or dad finds out. The mother's eyes blaze with cold fury, silencing her daughter with a chilling command. The mother's grip on her daughter's face is firm, a terrifying display of power. This matriarch means business, and clearly, she's not messing around. The mother's chilling voice echoes across the street, a silent threat for daring to defy her. She calls him a low-born bastard, promising a world of pain. The enraged daughter glares, swearing to make Dojin disappear, while he calmly watches. She's clearly learned a thing or two about making people vanish from her family. The scene shifts, revealing the truth. 10 years ago, these terrifying rift zones suddenly appeared, tearing reality apart. And then, the monsters poured out, grotesque nightmares that butchered humanity without mercy. This wasn't a game, it was an apocalypse. The world plunged into utter chaos, cities burning, lives ending, all swallowed by the terrifying new reality. But then, heroes emerged, shining beacons of hope who swiftly brought the rampant chaos under control. Apparently, capes and flashy powers still win. The world adapted, and with the new age came magic stones, extracted from the very monsters they fought. A new economy was born. Magic stones became the new fuel, and entire nations transformed rift zones into gates, building their economies around these monster-filled dungeons and the heroes who braved them. The car screeches to a halt, a stark realization dawning. In other words, there's only one path to power in this new world. To make any real money, to gain any real power in this new world, you had to become a hero, and Dojin was definitely built for that. Dojin stands before the ominous building of Yangdongpo HCS capital, the next stop on his path to becoming a hero. This was where he'd deal with the loan shark problem, once and for all. The loan shark boss, flanked by his muscle, glares at Dojin, demanding to know who he is. Little does he know, he's face to face with a walking apocalypse. The boss coldly snubs out his cigarette on the floor, his voice laced with menace. "You dare show your face here after what you did to my men," he sneers, a silent threat in his words. Dojin casually explains he was at a loss, leaving the enraged boss completely baffled. He demanded to know what the hell Dojin meant by such a statement. Dojin, with a straight face, tells the flabbergasted boss that he actually deserves compensation for all the damage he's caused. This guy had some serious nerve. The boss stares, a chilling realization dawning on him. The docile kid he knew was gone, and judging by how his men were trashed, something serious had happened. The boss's eyes widen as a purple aura surrounds Dojin, realizing this kid must have awakened his powers in a gate. This was a whole new problem. The boss leans in, his face contorted, warning Dojin about arrogant awakeners who met terrible ends. He was trying to intimidate the wrong guy. The boss and his two heavily muscled goons loom over Dojin, an intimidating display of power, but Dojin just looked bored. The boss continues his intimidation, dramatically clutching his clothes as he dismisses other awakeners as deranged trash. He then prepares to drop another threat, but Dojin is long past caring about cheap talk. The boss continues his arrogant posturing, boasting about his weak deranged underlings who wouldn't dare speak up. He's clearly trying to intimidate Dojin, who looks utterly bored. But Dojin isn't impressed, cutting him off with a blunt, no-nonsense command. The boss looks utterly flabbergasted, not used to being told what to do. Dojin's eyes blaze with power as he coldly informs the boss he's not finished talking. This guy clearly doesn't know who he's messing with. One of the thugs explodes in rage, furious that Dojin dared to disrespect their boss. He's about to learn a very painful lesson. In a blink, Dojin moves, sweeping through the thugs with effortless speed. These goons just aren't fast enough. A brutal punch connects with a bald thug's face, but Dojin isn't just fighting, he's interrogating. He casually asks if they also deal in loan sharking, multitasking at its finest. Dojin twists, casually revealing his knowledge of their illegal ID forging operation, while simultaneously laying out another thug he's getting a hero ID, one way or another. Another thug goes down in a bloody mess, as Dojin calmly explains his simple need for a hero ID to start making real money priorities, people, priorities. All the thugs are now a crumpled mess on the floor, their intimidation tactics clearly failing. Dojin stands victorious, barely breaking a sweat. He sternly orders them to bring him a flawless hero ID, warning them that any trouble later will not be tolerated. The loan shark business just got a new, very demanding client. The loan shark boss's eyes widen in terror, sweat beading on his forehead as he grasps the impossible demand of flawless hero ID, by tomorrow, or else. Panic surges through the boss as he reassesses Dojin's power. This guy isn't just C rank, he thinks, utterly terrified, he might even be B rank. Dojin stands over the crumpled boss, calmly asking if he's going to answer. Defeated, the boss finally gives in, whimpering, "Fine, I'll do it." Just as the boss thinks it's over, Dojin places a hand on his shoulder, a new, chilling question forming on his lips. This was far from finished. Dojin's eyes blaze with power, his voice low and dangerous. "Did Hong Heiju tell you to kill me?" he demands, the air crackling around him. Dojin tightens his grip on the boss's neck, his voice cold. Still not answering, he presses, as the terrified man whimpers, tears welling up. The boss screams in agony as Dojin forces the truth from him. Another thug lunges in, but he's too slow to help. The blonde thug, horrified, blurts out the name, Hong Heiju. It was that woman. The mastermind behind the assassination attempt is revealed. The boss, eyes wide with terror, spills everything, recounting Hong Heiju's chilling wish for Dojin to be buried in debt and kill himself. Her malice was terrifying. Dojin listens, impassive, as the boss desperately begs to be released. The full extent of Hong Heiju's cruelty had finally been exposed. Dojin glares at the trembling boss, demanding to know if all this was to trick him into suicide by trapping him in the gate. This guy was really trying to get rid of him. The boss frantically denies any knowledge of trapping Dojin in the gate, hands raised in a desperate plea of innocence. He swore he knew nothing. He doubles down on his lie, pleading that he'd lose money if Dojin died, so why would he ever do that? This guy was a master manipulator, or just terrified. Dojin's eyes narrow as a new name surfaces in his mind. Kong Chulwo. Another piece of the puzzle just clicked. Dojin points at the boss, giving a chilling ultimatum, bring him all the intel on Kong Chulwo by tomorrow. The terrified boss instantly agrees, nodding frantically. His thoughts drift to protecting his grandmother in Yunying, ensuring they live in the safest home imaginable. He'd do anything for them. He stands tall, a determined glint in his eyes. There was much more to do, and he was ready for it. His hand casually holds up a brand new, shiny B-rank hero ID. Looks like the loan sharks delivered, after all. He stands before a massive, high-tech gate, his B-rank ID verified, but a warning blares, his level is still below the recommended grade apparently, even a B-rank isn't good enough for these guys. Dojin stares, annoyed, muttering about the company jerk who only gave him a B-rank he clearly expected, and deserved, an A-rank. He stepped into the gate, a blaring alarm announcing his unsuitable B-rank. Apparently, they had no idea who they were dealing with. The gate's rules screamed no solo entry unless you were A-rank, but Dojin just kept walking, his casual shoes defying all logic. This B-rank tunnel gate was designed for groups, specifically A-rank solo clears, yet here he was, just a B-rank, entering alone. If you were truly unlucky, this tunnel was a death trap, filled with untold horrors. And just like that, a colossal snake monster materialized from the shadows, ready to welcome him to the party. He was definitely unlucky, or just built different. Despite the terrifying monstrosity before him, Dojin's eyes glowed, a dangerous smirk playing on his lips. "I'm liking this," he muttered, ready to rumble. This was a black fang snake, its venom capable of paralyzing you with just a scratch. A perfect warm-up. The snake lunged, a blur of deadly strikes, but Dojin moved like lightning, weaving through the venomous assault with effortless grace. Phew, that was barely a workout. He casually wiped the monster's goo from his hand, already looking for the next challenge. Looks like this little excursion was earning its hefty 300,001 price tag. Easy money, literally. More of these easy money snakes appeared, their fangs dripping with venom. Looks like the price just went up. He calmly walked further into the gate, leaving a trail of monster guts behind him. What fresh hell awaited him next? After crushing another one, he realized this whole B-rank gate was a bust. Not a single magic stone. What a waste. Nope, still no magic stones, confirming his low drop rate theory. This B-rank gate was more like a D-rank loot run. To get a decent haul, he'd have to clear a few hundred more of these chumps. Time to rack up some serious monster kills. He continued deeper into the dungeon, stumbling upon skeletal remains and strange, glowing puddles. This gate was definitely getting weirder. His eyes narrowed, sensing a much larger presence. Was this finally the boss, or just another overgrown pest? A colossal golden snake, its green eyes blazing, loomed over him. All right, now this was more like it. The boss's appearance was actually quite convenient, showing him the way forward. These monsters were literally clearing his path. With a swift, powerful leap, he launched himself at the giant beast. Time to finish this glorified pest control and head back home. His powerful punch slammed into the golden serpent, but its skin was like solid gold. The massive golden snake recoiled, then let out a terrifying shriek, its fangs dripping with venom. This was no ordinary B-rank beast. He darted sideways, narrowly avoiding a razor-sharp golden scale attack that flew past like a bullet. This thing was fast. He ducked and weaved, the colossal serpent's sweeping attack tearing through the air where he just stood. This was definitely a higher grade. He thought, as expected, this is on a completely different level. His punches were completely useless against its incredibly tough hide. What now? He mused, a flicker of frustration in his eyes. If only he'd regained his full strength, this overgrown snake would be absolutely nothing. His gaze fell upon a discarded, ancient-looking sword, half buried in the rubble. This is, he muttered, an idea forming. It's old, but I guess I have no choice, he decided, picking up the worn-out blade. A sword's true power, he knew, always depended on the wielder. With a resolute grip, he hefted the ancient blade, feeling its familiar weight in his hand. This sword, he announced. He charged towards the massive golden serpent, a glint in his eyes. I'll borrow it for a bit, he declared, ready to teach this beast a lesson. He stared down the colossal beast, his eyes glinting with fierce resolve. Consider it an honor to be destroyed by my hand, snakehead, he declared, ready to end this. With a flash of speed, he moved, blurring past the giant serpent's attack. Sparks flew as his borrowed blade met its golden scales, cutting through like butter. In an instant, the colossal snake was defeated, leaving a tiny, shocked version of himself holding a broken scale. If I hadn't caught that, it would have been a disaster, he muttered, realizing the power behind his attack. He examined the ancient blade, now caked in monster goo and blood. It was short for a long sword, but with a little sharpening, this relic could be a proper weapon. He rubbed his temple, clearly exhausted, but the potential payout was a relief. At least this gate paid better than Namsan, so it was worth the trouble. Finally exiting the gate under the moonlight, he grumbled to himself. To think a single B-rank gate would take this much time, he muttered, clearly annoyed by the delay. His fist clenched, a fierce determination etched on his face. Restoring his full strength was now the absolute top priority. He gazed at the city lights, a wistful smile on his face, relieved his old comrades weren't here to see him in this weakened state. If they knew how much trouble a B rank gave him, they'd never let him live it down. Back at the shop, the owner smiled, acknowledging his impressive haul of mana stones. The commission is 40%, as usual, he announced, completely unaware of Dojin's previous negotiations. Dojin eyed the man, casually asking, "Isn't the commission too expensive? I'm a pretty good regular, can't you give me a discount?" He was clearly trying a new tactic, or a new shop. The shop owner, unfazed, started a new sales pitch, boasting his cheapest commission and tax-free transactions. He was clearly trying to smooth-talk his way out of a beating. He laid down the cash, gloating about the clean transaction and how it was a gain for Dojin. This guy really thought he was doing a favor. Dojin looked at the money, his expression unreadable, simply saying, "That's true." Was he actually buying this nonsense? Suddenly, a new guy with a heavily bandaged and bruised face showed up, asking the shop owner what the heck happened. Clearly, someone had a very bad day. The shop owner threw his hands up, whining about some crazy bastard who beat his guards to a pulp and left him looking like this. He conveniently left out the part where he deserved it. The bandaged guy scoffed, Hey, looks like you let your guard down with C-rank guards." He then launched into a lecture about how real skill trumps mere rank, totally throwing shade. He dramatically questioned if a simple store guard could compare to a life-risking hero. The shop owner, now utterly annoyed by the lecturing, just wanted him to shut up. The shop owner, exasperated, told him to just go, complaining about the nagging. The bandaged guy just laughed, casually telling him to call if he needed help, as if they were best friends. Then, like a lightning bolt, the bandaged guy pointed, screaming, "UGH, it's him!" He'd just spotted the bastard who rearranged his face. He was pointing directly at Dojin, who calmly walked in, looking like a total pretty boy. The shop owner, confused, asked if this was the ruckus-causing bastard. The bandaged hero confronts Dojin, demanding to know if he caused a disturbance. He lectures Dojin about heroes not hitting innocent civilians, clearly missing the entire point. The bandaged hero smirks, boasting about the shop owner being a 7-year veteran hero with powerful connections. He tries to intimidate Dojin, threatening him with the hero network. Dojin casually walks away, telling the bandaged hero to mind his own business and get lost. This new hero clearly doesn't realize he's talking to the wrong person. Dojin glances back, a challenging glint in his eyes. He asks if this new hero is here for revenge, daring him to make a move. The bandaged hero's face contorts in pure rage, snapping, "This bastard, he's clearly not used to being dismissed so casually." Suddenly, the bandaged hero's veteran intuition kicks in, and cold sweat beads on his forehead. He realizes that fellow heroes are the biggest cause of hero deaths. As Dojin continues to casually walk away, the bandaged hero frantically calls out. Dojin just waves him off, proclaiming he's too busy. The shop owner, still bandaged, freezes in terror as Dojin's voice cuts through the air. Dojin asks if he has any more complaints about him, a chilling threat in his tone. Dojin calmly reaches into the shop owner's jacket, making him gasp in shock. Something red and glowing is visible inside. Dojin pulls out a bag overflowing with sparkling red mana stones from the shop owner's jacket. He calmly instructs the terrified owner to calculate his payment. The shop owner's face pales, realizing the red stones he just saw are high-grade mana. What kind of monster did this casual guy just fight, and who the hell is he? The sparkling red mana stones are indeed high-grade, adding up to a staggering 150 million won. This wasn't just pocket change, it was a serious payday. Dojin looks utterly unimpressed, scoffing that all his hard work only netted 150 million won. He casually demands the full amount, no questions asked. The shop owner frantically tries to remind Dojin about the commission, but Dojin's glowing eyes silence him. Did he just make a fatal mistake by mentioning the fee again? Dojin smirks, reiterating the shop owner internally rages about the 40% commission, but quickly remembers his corporate policy. He whimpers that transactions over 100 million require superior approval. Dojin's gaze hardens, his voice cutting like ice as he demands the approval. Right now he wasn't waiting for anyone's bureaucracy. The shop owner scrambles to call his boss, nervously explaining the situation. With Dojin glaring from nearby, he was clearly in deep trouble. Dojin calmly takes the phone, his voice flat as he orders the person on the other end to just give him the money. He's not here for small talk, just the cash. The voice on the phone tries to regain control, but Dojin simply hangs up, tossing the phone aside. His patience had clearly run out. Dojin casually walks away, leaving the shop owner utterly stunned, staring at the visible impact crack in the wall he just proved who's boss without even touching the phone again. His superior, clearly terrified, immediately caved and moments later, 2 heavy bags bursting with cash are dropped, a staggering 150 million won total, all for Dojin. Yes, money talks, especially when a sword god is doing the talking. Dojin strolls off with his fresh loot, casually wishing for another. 10 minutes later, a distant click sounds. The quiet of the shop is about to be shattered again. Suddenly, a much more intimidating figure storms in, demanding to know why his phone wasn't answered. This guy looked like serious trouble, and he wasn't happy about that earlier call. The shop owner, still traumatized, finally spills the beans to his actual boss. He can't do this anymore. The shattered remains of a phone or wall on the floor speak volumes about the terror he just endured. The real boss, now realizing the gravity of the situation, makes a frantic call to someone named Julian. He sounds worried, but still retains his tough facade. The boss needs her to come over, and now a mysterious woman with flowing purple hair strides confidently, her arrival turning heads. This might be the cavalry, or more trouble. The mysterious woman is revealed as Hyun Julian, drawing gasps of awe from everyone around. Looks like she's a celebrity hero in this world. The bandaged hero who just tried to pick a fight is absolutely terrified, realizing who just walked in his face screams, "Oh no, mommy showed up." Hyun Julian coolly confirms her identity, a dangerous smirk playing on her lips. She's clearly enjoying the chaos she causes just by existing. She's not just a celebrity, she's Korea's 4th S-rank hero, Hyun Julian, and also the boss's niece. Why is she here? The terrified hero wonders, probably already regretting his life choices. She casually explains her presence, stating her uncle had a headache because some hero was forcing mana stone sales. Looks like Dojin's earlier negotiation just caught the attention of an S-rank. Hyun Julian sits, a powerful aura surrounding her, and calmly asks for the full details. This S-rank isn't here to play nice, she's here for answers. The scene shifts to Dojin, shirtless and flexing, pushing his body to the limit. His family, meanwhile, peacefully enjoys their new, slightly richer life. Dojin's face is grim, calculating how little money he makes even with endless hunting. At this rate, he thinks, his plan to get the best house will take forever. To speed things up, he needs to solo S-rank gates, which means regaining his past strength, but this world's mana is too scarce, making his progress painfully slow. He estimates it will take years, maybe even longer, to recover his full power. He longs for decent equipment to aid his training, but this world is severely lacking. Not even a single piece of junk armor can be found for his level. The ground shakes violently, and Dojin instinctively grabs Yunying, yelling for her to get inside. This wasn't some training exercise, something truly terrifying was happening. His grandmother, looking confused, asks what's happening, while Dojin's eyes are already scanning for the source of the chaos. This was not a normal tremor. Yunying screams in terror as the world around them rattles, everyone instantly thinking the worst. It felt like the ground itself was tearing apart. Dojin's eyes glow with recognition, his mind instantly dismissing the idea of an earthquake. No, he knew exactly what this unsettling tremor was. He knew it in his gut. This was a rift, tearing open the sky and unleashing its terrifying, alien presence onto their city. It was chaos incarnate. Dojin sprinted towards the danger, yelling back for his family to stay safe, knowing exactly what kind of hell was about to break loose. He was running directly into it. A massive, shadowy tentacle erupted from the rift, but Dojin met it head-on, his fist already blazing with power. This world's threats were about to get a painful reality check. The scene shifts to the gleaming, modern facade of the Seoul Hero Association, a beacon of hope in a city constantly on the brink of disaster. They were about to get a very urgent call. Inside the Hero Association, alarms blared as frantic agents announced a new rift had just ripped open and Mapo chaos was confirmed. The team leader, looking utterly stressed, sighed a new rift after 63 days of calm, and he knew it meant nothing but trouble for Seoul. The team leader barks orders, scrambling to contact the White Lion Guild and dispatch all nearby heroes to the Mapo Rift. Chaos had officially begun. He demands the rift's exact location, only to hear the chilling news: it tore open in the yard of a private residence. Talk about bad real estate luck. His face contorts in anguish. If a civilian entered a new rift, no one else could follow until they came out. The rules were a death sentence in the making. His mind races, a horrifying thought taking root. If that civilian died inside, it meant only one thing for the entire city. A monster wave would erupt for 180 days, completely devastating Seoul. It was an apocalyptic vision, right out of his worst nightmares. An agent confirms the civilian's identity, Seo Dojin, who plunged into the rift to save his younger sister. What a hero, or a complete lunatic. The blonde agent, now pale, asks the probability of a monster wave when a civilian enters a new rift. The answer was going to be grim. The data flashes on screen, a chilling 99.9% chance Seoul was basically doomed. The entire control room falls silent, every agent paralyzed by the terrifying odds. This was it, the end of their world as they knew it. Meanwhile, S-rank hero Hyun Juyeon hears the shocking news. Dojin awakened. She looks utterly stunned. What on earth was going on? Chief Lee, looking stressed, confirms Dojin awakened during his last gate run. Even if he hasn't officially registered yet, he's definitely a new player on the board. Chief Lee's frustration boils over as he curses Kong Chulwo, clearly blaming him for this unexpected complication. Someone definitely messed up big time. The furious daughter rages, wishing they just killed Dojin themselves instead of complicating things and paying for it. She's clearly got a personal vendetta against him. Her eyes blaze with pure hatred as she issues a chilling ultimatum. If Kong Chulwo fails to kill Dojin, he'll pay back 10 times the money he received. Manager Lee interjects, stating there's no need to contact Kong Chulwo. After all, a new rift just tore open in Mapo, right at Dojin's house, simplifying their problem. Manager Lee's face pales as he confirms Dojin entered the rift, a grim reality that would soon be plastered all over the news. This was truly unexpected. The daughter's lips curl into a sinister smile, realizing this new development means Dojin will finally disappear from their lives for good. Manager Lee can only stammer a horrified agreement. The daughter coolly orders Manager Lee to keep a close eye on the situation until Dojin's demise is absolutely certain. Manager Lee snaps to attention, understanding the gravity of her demand. The scene shifts inside the new rift, a strange, ethereal forest where Dojin floats, seemingly unconscious. This was definitely not a normal gate. Dojin wakes, his powerful body reflecting the green light of the bizarre forest. He mutters about how hard it is to believe what he's seeing, clearly disoriented. Dojin lay on the ground, still disoriented, but a shocking realization hit him. This verdant forest was the Petishua forest he'd known as a child, impossibly replicated. Every detail was identical, from the trees and grass to the wind, the abundant mana, even the sky and clouds. It was like stepping back into a forgotten memory. He looked towards a familiar archway, a path he once knew. If he went out this way, he wondered, where would he end up in this impossible world? A smirk touched his lips, his eyes glowing faintly. It was exactly as he thought, a chilling confirmation of his deepest suspicion. And then he saw it, towering above the forest, the mythical world tree, blazing with pure, primordial mana. This was beyond anything he could have imagined. This magnificent world tree was a primordial spirit, the source of highly pure mana, radiating an almost divine energy. He remembered the truth. The core reason his previous world was destroyed, it was because this very tree burned, ruining the flow of all mana and causing the apocalypse. To think the world tree was still perfectly intact, a source of endless mana, defied all logic. He had no idea how, but this was a game changer. His eyes blazed with renewed power, a triumphant smirk on his face. He could finally regain the mana from back then, his true strength was within reach. Bathed in a brilliant blue glow, mana surged around him, already restoring his weakened body. This was just the beginning of his true return. Days blurred into a single, focused meditation as he absorbed the world tree's raw mana. 1 day, 2 days, then 3, his power steadily returning. He pushed past all limits, forgetting food and drink, spending 10 full days in deep meditation. This was the price of true power. Suddenly, terrifying, shadowy figures emerged from the forest depths, chillingly familiar. These were the Volcana, back from his nightmares. His eyes widened in grim recognition. These were the monsters who had burned the world tree in his past life. They were back, and he was ready. A water element sword would have been nice for these fiery foes, he mused, flexing his raw power. But who needed fancy weapons when you were this built? It didn't matter, he decided, mana blazing around him like an inferno. He would shatter every last one of them with his bare hands. With a casual yo, he unleashed a compressed mana punch, detonating pure energy and sending monsters flying. This was just a taste of his power. A satisfied few escaped his lips, a familiar feeling of exhaustion washing over him. It had been a long time since he'd unleashed this much mana at once. He walked through the ethereal forest, mana still radiating from his form, confirming the world tree's safety. Its power was finally his. Now, with the world tree's mana coursing through his veins, he grinned, a dangerous glint in his glowing eyes. It was time to really test his new power. Dojin faces down a horde of shadowy Volcana, his body radiating power time to put this world tree mana to the ultimate test. One monster charges, but Dojin unleashes a devastating blow, shattering its very essence next. The beast dissolves into dust, leaving behind a shimmering red mana stone. So this is what they drop. Interesting. Confirmation complete. These guys are definitely loot pinatas. More where that came from, it seems. A menacing grin spreads across his face as he contemplates the remaining monsters. They were just delaying the inevitable. He knew exactly what he was after, the legendary Undying Ember. Time to collect his prize. His eyes blaze with greed and excitement, remembering the legendary item's high drop rate. He lunges, ready to clear out the entire forest. He danced through the chaos, a whirlwind of fists and fury, smashing monsters left and right. This was barely a challenge. Amongst the usual mana stones, a shimmering golden coin appeared. This must be the legendary Undying Ember. He examined the legendary Undying Ember, a thoughtful expression on his face. This was exactly what he needed. He examined the legendary Undying Ember, a thoughtful expression on his face. Then, with a dangerous smirk, he realized he'd gotten this incredibly rare item again. He would love to draw more mana directly from the world tree, but his current body can't handle it. What he can do now is absorb this ember and convert his mana into a fire attribute. Mana blazes around him as he absorbs the ember, his power shifting to a terrifying fire attribute. This was just what he needed for a power boost. The scene shifts to his past, a time when he never even needed to absorb an ember. Now, it takes a whole 10 minutes to absorb just one, a stark reminder of his current weakened state. He shakes off the past and focuses, deciding to keep absorbing as much power as he possibly can. Every bit helps. The scene shifts dramatically, and a massive, thorny purple rift tears through the sky over the city. Chaos has officially arrived. Bang Songwo, a tough-looking guy, curses the chaos because of one crazy bastard. What the hell is all this? He fumes. Kim Hyun-woo, a calm, slick-looking guy, casually interjects. He said he did it trying to save his younger sister, he states, unbothered. Songwo dismisses the excuse, raging that the bastard just wanted to awaken in a rift zone and went in without a thought for others. If you're going to die, die alone, he yells. Hyun-woo asks about the guild master's response, who simply gave the usual manual stuff. They were just told to wait for the monster wave, as if it was a normal Tuesday. The blue-haired hero, still confused, asks why they're just waiting. Turns out, multiple rifts just tore open simultaneously across the globe, not just in Seoul. Now he gets it, the guild master is probably swamped dealing with a global crisis. This kind of widespread, simultaneous rift opening is completely unprecedented, a truly terrifying new development. Other countries reportedly managed to contain their rifts in the early stages, while Seoul is left grappling with its own disaster. That means someone else is completely screwed. The angry hero explodes, realizing Seoul is the only one truly messed up by this, and it's all thanks to one beggar-like bastard who just had to mess things up for everyone. He vows to utterly smash the face of the bastard who first entered the rift. This hero's rage is definitely personal, and very intense. 28 days have passed since the rift tore open, and the Hero Association just declared a level 1 monster wave alert. The clock is ticking, and the city is bracing for impact. If civilian Mr. S, the one who first entered the rift, doesn't emerge within the next 2 days, the city is in for a very bad time. The fate of Seoul now rests on his return. The boss, a cool and collected figure, takes a drag from his cigarette. He asks if Mr. S is actually the Seo Dojin bastard they were dealing with earlier. Director Kim Yong-gu, Hwang Chang-seep's right-hand man, confirms with absolute certainty that Mr. S is indeed Seo Dojin. No room for doubt there. The boss asks about Dojin's chances of survival, and Director Kim grimly states there's barely a 1% chance for a civilian in a rift. The odds are clearly stacked against him. The bandaged thugs, still healing from Dojin's earlier visit, believe the Hero Association is seriously underestimating him. They know something the experts don't. The boss, ever the opportunist, questions if Dojin is more than just a civilian. If he's awakened, that changes everything, for better or worse. His advisor, Kim Yong-gu, admits it's hard to tell Dojin's true strength. Even if he's awakened, this kid's power level is a complete mystery, even to the pros. Hwang Chang-seep scoffs, stating that fighting well means nothing if you can't survive a rift. This boss clearly understands the true dangers of this world. Suddenly, Kim Yong-gu proposes they secure Dojin's family. This sounds less like protection and more like a hostage situation. Meanwhile, Yun-ying is getting her hair braided by Grandma, blissfully unaware of the sinister plans being concocted for their security. Hwang Chang-seep reveals his truly twisted plan. sell their organs if Dojin dies, or enslave them with debt if he survives. This guy is pure evil, a true villain. Unaware of the sinister plot, Dojin stands, absolutely shredded and glowing with power. He's been training relentlessly, and his body is buzzing. He casually states he's absorbed hundreds of undying embers, a feat that would make any hero tremble. His power level is rapidly surging. Now, he can freely use flame attribute mana and has drastically increased his fire resistance. He's becoming an unstoppable force, a one-man inferno. He's not just powerful, he's beyond his peak, even compared to his legendary sword god days. Just looking at his flame attribute, he's stronger than ever. Comparing his past power to his current strength, he feels the raw mana surging through his hand. It's a new beginning. He silently thanks the magnificent world tree, its ethereal glow illuminating the forest. This power was a gift. With a plant in hand, he reflects on his potential departure, a quiet goodbye to this incredible source of power. He might not be back here. He glances back, a dangerous promise forming on his lips. If the world tree ever needed him again, he would answer. He vows to protect the world tree, no matter what. Bathed in its light, he feels an unbreakable resolve. Back in the city, under a full moon, he senses no one within a kilometer. He wonders if everyone evacuated, bracing for the impending monster wave. A faint but distinct aura emanates from a nearby building, catching his attention. Looks like not everyone left. He peeks around the corner, recognizing the familiar attire of the agents from the last gate. This was going to be an annoying encounter if they caught him. With a casual flick of his wrist, fire blazes around him, his movements leaving trails of pure heat. Time to move, unseen. A silent, focused blast of fire erupted, hitting something in the distance with pinpoint accuracy. Looks like his stealth mission just got a whole lot brighter. Suddenly, the agents flinched at a loud sound, realizing with dawning horror that a massive fire had just erupted. Someone's stealth game was clearly lacking. Chaos erupted among the agents, screaming about the inferno and demanding to know how a fire even started here. They clearly hadn't accounted for a rogue flame user. Dojin casually strolled away from the towering flames, mentally praising his own precise targeting and the impressive nature of his new firepower. Mission accomplished, apparently. He mused about Cusack, wondering if even the strongest flame mage of his past world would admire his new, terrifyingly precise fire. This was more than just a power-up, it was an art form. The scene shifts to his past. He remembered Cusack, the continent's strongest flame mage, a true master of fire, someone he once looked up to, and now surpassed. Back with the agents, one of them suddenly paused, a dawning realization flashing across his face. Wait, he stammered, sensing something was gravely wrong. Above the city, the rift pulsed, its strange, thorny form looking even more ominous than before. It was giving off a truly unsettling vibe, even for a rift. The agents stared up at the bizarre rift, their faces contorted in alarm. Something about it was deeply, unnervingly off. The lead agent's face was a mask of pure shock, his eyes wide with horror as he realized the true nature of the rift. This wasn't just strange, it was catastrophic. The lead agent's horror deepened as the terrifying rift, with its strange, thorny form, began to unravel and disappear. What was this, a miracle, or something even more unsettling? Breaking news flashed across the city, announcing that the new rift in Mapo had completely vanished early this morning. Seoul was safe, for now. After a full 29 days, with Mr. Seo still inside, the Hero Association was utterly baffled by the rift's sudden disappearance. They'd been bracing for a monster wave, not a vanishing act, and were now scrambling for answers. Meanwhile, whispers of an unexplained fire at a junkyard near the now-vanished rift also spread. Someone clearly liked to make an explosive exit. The public buzzed with judgment, many speculating that Mr. Seo must have died in the rift, and frankly, deserved it for his recklessness. Some hooded figure listened, clearly annoyed by their chatter. The hooded figure, his eyes glowing faintly, scoffed at their callousness. If the rift hadn't disappeared, this entire city would be a war zone right now, not just talking nonsense. He walked away, wondering if the rift's disappearance meant he'd never see the world tree again. It was a pity, he mused, but perhaps for the best. And then, his gaze hardened, remembering the true reason he returned. There was something else, someone else, he had to protect above all else. His path led him back to the ominous building of Yangdongpo HCS capital. It was time to settle some old scores. Inside, two loan sharks gloated, believing that with Dojin dead, his grandmother and sister were finished too. They planned to squeeze every last penny from them, 10 times over. The lone shark, a cigarette dangling from his lips, muses on Yunying's future. The kid will be pretty, he thinks, already planning how to exploit her. Just as they're plotting, a sudden voice cuts through the air, making them flinch. A shadowy, hooded figure calmly strides into the room, demanding to know where their boss's trouble has officially arrived. Meanwhile, a confident, stylish man with sunglasses and a goatee saunters outside, humming to himself, clearly enjoying his day. He chuckles, a sinister smirk on his face, openly celebrating Dojin's supposed death. He really thinks his troubles are over. Director Kim, looking formal and organized, confirms his boss's busy schedule, with no evening plans on the books. The boss smirks, his casual tone belying a sinister command. Tell Madame Kong to doll up any new girls, he instructs, clearly planning a wild night. Suddenly, the boss's smug expression shatters into pure terror, blood splattering across his face. Someone just ruined his plans, big time. The hooded figure, Dojin, stands calmly over the two coughing, defeated loan sharks. He's back, and they are definitely not happy to see him. Dojin's eyes glow with menacing power as he stares down the terrified thugs. He orders them to crawl to him like dogs, a terrifying display of authority. The lone shark boss, still defiant, couldn't fathom Dojin's chilling command. Can't you hear me? Dojin asks, his voice cutting like ice. All the lone sharks, once so tough, now cowered on the floor, obeying his every chilling command. This was a complete humiliation, and Dojin was just getting started. Bark, Dojin commands, his eyes blazing. A bastard like you doesn't even deserve to be treated like a human. He was pushing them to their absolute breaking point. Bark like a dog, Dojin presses, and the humiliated boss lets out a pathetic whimpering sound. He was utterly broken, his dignity stripped away. The boss finally broke, letting out desperate, slobbery woofs as tears and snot streamed down his face. Apparently, even gangsters knew how to play fetch when a sword god was in charge. His entire crew joined in, barking like terrified puppies on the office floor. This wasn't just a shakedown, it was a full-on dog show, starring the lone sharks. Bark louder, Dojin demands, casually nudging one of the cowering thugs with his foot. He wasn't satisfied until they sounded like actual dogs. Dojin surveyed the cowering figures, knowing these vile bastards would stab you in the back the moment they saw an opening. He'd dealt with countless such loyal types in his past life. Huang Changseep, Dojin snarls, his eyes burning. Do you think I've only dealt with bastards like you once or twice? He was talking to a long, bloody history of betrayal. Huang Changseep, utterly broken, begged for his life, promising dog-like loyalty. Looks like the boss finally learned his lesson, but at what cost? Huang Changseep's desperate pleas are cut short by a brutal punch, blood spraying as Dojin silences him. He was truly mistaken about who was in charge here. Director Kim, still trying to process the chaos, looks utterly shocked, his glasses almost falling off. This new guy was completely unhinged. Dojin casually leans back in the boss's chair, declaring that one of them should take over. He couldn't stand working under an inhuman bastard like the former boss. With the old boss sprawled on the floor, Dojin coolly states it should be no big deal for them to replace their higher-ups. He even gives them permission to do it themselves. One of the thugs bows frantically, pleading that the boss has powerful connections, and it would be too strange for him to suddenly take over. He just wanted to avoid more pain. Director Kim, sweating profusely, forces a pained smile and begs Dojin to spare their boss this one time. He clearly just wanted this nightmare to end. Dojin's eyes narrow, asking why they're being so frustrating about this. He reminds them that they specialize in far worse things, like crushing people at junkyards or dumping them in the sea. The thugs look horrified as Dojin delivers a chilling ultimatum. If they refuse to cooperate, he can always throw their boss into a gate as monster feed. The cowering thugs instantly scream, begging Dojin to spare their lives. They promise to work like dogs for him for the rest of their lives. Dojin stares down at the whimpering thug, utterly unfazed by their desperate pleas for mercy. He knew their promises meant nothing. Dojin's eyes narrowed, a ruthless thought forming. It would be cleaner to simply cut out Huang Changseep now and avoid any future trouble. He was done playing games. He let out a soft sigh, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Was he, the legendary sword god, actually going soft on these pathetic thugs? He extended his hand, a chilling gesture. The terrified thug flinched, bracing for the worst, but Dojin just said here. The thug quickly clasped Dojin's hand, tears in his eyes as he stammered, I'm sorry for everything I've done. He clearly thought he was getting off easy. From now on, I'll serve you as my master, the thug gushed, utterly desperate. Dojin just raised an eyebrow, thinking With a sudden burst of fire, Dojin's arm blazed, enveloping the terrified thug. A blood-curdling scream echoed as the lesson began. Dojin's eye, blazing with a terrifying reflection of the burning thug, narrowed. This is your last chance, he stated, his voice devoid of mercy. Dojin stood calmly over the smoking, unconscious thug that was a clear demonstration, and the message was delivered. He turned his back, walking away as the remaining thugs whimpered in terror. Clearly, they understood the gravity of his warning. His voice, chillingly calm, delivered the final ultimatum: if even a scratch appeared on his family, they would all be massacred. They were now his personal, lifelong bodyguards, 24/7. Officially, Dojin was a ghost, a being that vanished along with the mysterious rift, but clearly, the public didn't know who they were dealing with. The government, the Hero Association, and every type of media were all talking about him. Meanwhile, Dojin was just chilling with his little sister, Yunying, at a diner. Everyone was already treating Dojin as a dead man, his face plastered next to the monster he supposedly died fighting. Guess they didn't get the memo that he's built different. Dojin knew that even if he announced his return, it would only cause more trouble. Better to remain a ghost for now, and avoid all the drama. He casually thought about Huang Changsip, who was undoubtedly scrambling to find them a new house. For now, they would just take it easy and move on with their lives. Yunyang was absolutely thrilled, a wide smile spreading across her face. Dojin told her that now she could go to kindergarten like all the other kids next year. She'd even go to school too, a normal life finally within reach. But Yunying suddenly looked down, a quiet nope escaping her lips. Dojin looked completely shocked, wondering why she didn't want to go to kindergarten. His heart ached as she explained. "It's okay, you don't have to go," he said, his voice soft. She didn't need to see those brats' faces, she could just go straight to school next year instead. Yunying's face lit up, a brilliant smile spreading as she confirmed she didn't have to go to kindergarten. Dojin mused about sending her to an elite private school, ensuring no one could ever look down on her again. Meanwhile, Yunying happily munched on her burger, oblivious to his grand plans. Under the dim night sky, the King Motel loomed, prompting an accusatory voice. In the dimly lit motel hallway, Dojin faced a grim-faced man, who questioned his judgment. The nervous suit-wearing man stammered, assuring Dojin the motel was safely managed by their company. Inside the motel room, Yunying bounced on the bed, her eyes wide with excitement. Dojin scooped Yunying into a tight hug, her small arms clinging to him. His grandmother reached out, relief washing over her face. His grandmother clasped his hand, tears streaming down her face. Yunying tugged at his hoodie, still calling his name, a desperate need for reassurance in her voice. She wasn't letting go. Dojin looked down at her, a soft, genuine smile spreading across his face. Yunying, innocent and wide-eyed, suddenly looked up at Dojin, asking if he was a hero too. Dojin, caught off guard, asked if she'd like it if he were a hero, but she quickly shook her head, saying she'd rather he wasn't. Why, he wondered, confused. Her face fell as she explained heroes fight scary monsters and sometimes die with a drawing of their little family. She pleaded for him to live with them for a long, long time. Dojin stared silently, her heartfelt words echoing, a deep promise forming in his heart. Even in the brutal, volcanic world of his past, humans found a way to survive the very end. Through endless battles and bloodshed, much was lost, but he found something new to protect. But now, something incredibly precious, something he had forgotten in his brutal past, had finally returned to him. In this quiet, new world, he truly believed he could finally live, protecting this simple, unexpected happiness. The scene shifts to the towering headquarters of the Hero Association of South Korea, where the real power players gathered. Na Tae-won, the founder and director of hero associations worldwide, gazed out his window, wondering if there was truly nothing they could do. An agent responds to Na Tae-won's question, confirming they can't determine anything about the mysterious rift. Looks like even the top brass is completely stumped by this new phenomenon. Na Tae-won expresses his frustration, pondering the unsettling implications of a rift disappearing on its own. If it can vanish, it can definitely reappear, leaving everyone on edge. The agent agrees, stating an unpredictable variable is dangerous and even suggesting a monster wave would have been better. Na Tae-won quickly silences her, reminding her to watch her words. Na Tae-won reiterates his concern for the people's safety, asserting it's a relief the monster wave didn't happen. The agent immediately apologizes for her insensitive comment. This is Na Tae-won, one of the world's 100 most respected heroes. He's so popular, he could win the presidency with ease and even dismantle powerful corporations if he wanted to. This guy is seriously built different. But Na Tae-won's true passion isn't power or politics, it's solely dedicated to keeping people safe and preparing them for the relentless threat of rifts. He's a hero of the people, through and through. Na Tae-wang orders a thorough re-investigation of the rift, then receives good news. The resident of the Rift Zone house, Dojin's family, agreed to sell. Seems like things are moving fast. He instructs his team to offer more than market price for the house, hoping it brings comfort to the family who lost their relative to the rift. At least someone's got a heart in this brutal world. The agent mentions that this terrifying rift appeared simultaneously in other countries, too. This global phenomenon feels anything but normal, hinting at a much larger threat. She points out that the US and China have already brought their rifts under control, but a new, troubling detail emerges. The problem, she reveals, is the UK. The agent explains that all their reliable heroes were unfortunately dispatched to other rifts, leaving the UK vulnerable. Na Tae-wang's eyes widen in disbelief. This can't be, he mutters, sensing a global catastrophe unfolding. Breaking news flashes across the screen, a terrifying red alert: a full rift wave had erupted in the UK. The world was officially in chaos. The scene shifts to a familiar shop, still flaunting its ridiculous No Margin event banner, a testament to Dojin's earlier negotiation. Inside, a tired employee at the counter barely manages a good morning dash before his day gets complicated. But then, the employee's eyes widen in pure horror, a blood-curdling scream escaping his lips as he spots a familiar, hooded figure casually strolling in. "Manager, that guy, he's here," the terrified employee stammered, pointing frantically at the casual, hooded figure. "It's him," he cried, his voice trembling. The manager, startled, looked down at his paper, a sudden realization dawning on his face. Was it this guy, he mused, remembering the recent incidents. The manager looks up, stunned, accusing Dojin. "Was it you, the one who price-gouged magic stones while I was gone?" Completely misreading the situation. Dojin, unfazed, adjusted his sleeve. "Perfect timing," he stated. "I've got a lot of magic stones to sell today, and I was hoping someone high-ranking could take care of it." The manager immediately shuts Dojin down, accusing him of bringing low-quality stones and flat-out refusing to do business. "Just leave," he scoffs, clearly underestimating who he's dealing with. Dojin looks utterly baffled by the manager's refusal, simply asking, "You're refusing to trade," as if the idea was completely foreign to him. The manager scoffs, explaining a 1% commission means massive losses for his greedy business, and tells Dojin to take his stuff and get lost. Dojin just watches, a silent storm brewing. A menacing smirk plays on Dojin's lips as he quietly warns the manager, "You'll regret that," a chilling promise that hung heavy in the air. The exasperated manager throws his hands up, claiming he can't talk sense into Dojin and that there's a reason for the standard 5% commission. He then cuts himself off, muttering it's pointless to explain to someone so ignorant. His face contorted in anger, the manager barks, "Take your bag and get out, don't come back," clearly wanting nothing more to do with Dojin. Dojin's bag, unceremoniously dropped, spills out a cascade of sparkling, high-grade red mana stones, illuminating the darkroom. This was no ordinary loot bag. The employee and manager both gasp, their faces contorted in pure shock as they stare at the glittering red stones. Their eyes were about to pop out of their heads. Among the crimson pile, a brilliant blue hero magic stone gleams, instantly drawing the manager's horrified gaze. This was the legendary stone, rumored to be worth literally whatever price you dared to name. Dojin smirks, crossing his arms casually as he tells the stunned manager, "If you don't want it, forget it," as if the most valuable treasure in the world was just a pebble. The manager is stunned by the blue magic stone, an ultra-rare item that even infamous drug lords like Kurzman once used to create powerful, awakening drugs. The drug lord's power activated from these stones, awakening him as a hero. Ever since, these unique stones became known as hero magic stones, essential for awakening powers and enhancing magic. Now called a hero magic stone, it's not just a rare energy source, but an ultra-luxury item. The manager and his employees stared, utterly dumbfounded, at the pile of high-grade red stones and the legendary blue hero magic stone. They definitely didn't see that coming. Dojin, bored by their stunned silence, calmly told them to put the stones back. If they didn't want the deal, he would just leave. The manager, snapping out of his shock, frantically grabbed Dojin. "Customer," he stammered, begging him to wait just a moment. Now sitting and sharing a drink, the manager nervously tried to negotiate, hinting that a 0.5% commission might be a little excessive for such a valuable transaction. Dojin, utterly unfazed, reiterated his offer. If they didn't like the terms, he'd just take his business elsewhere. The manager quickly backtracked, stammering that he was just curious. Dojin then asked, with a dangerous glint in his eye, why the manager was changing the commission to 0.5%. The manager, suddenly bolder, smirked and admitted, "'Cause I'm annoyed." Dojin simply said he was sick of hearing apologies, demanding to know if the manager would match his rate or not. The manager, instantly terrified, quickly bowed and offered his sincere apologies. Dojin watches the manager grovel in apologies, his internal thoughts sharpen unsparing. Ugh, what a rotten jerk, seriously rude, he muses. The manager, sweating profusely, finally buckles under Dojin's unwavering gaze. Fine, he whimpers, clearly defeated. The manager tries to explain the rarity of magic stones and the necessity of high commissions, but Dojin cuts him off. Talking too long, he thinks, utterly bored. The manager desperately tries to justify a 9% commission, claiming we're seriously taking a loss here. Dojin calmly responds, if you don't like it, then forget it. The manager, now pleading, drops to 8%, whining, my boss will kill me if he finds out about this. Dojin, ever the pragmatist, advises, don't give him a reason to hit you. The manager frantically drops his offer to 7%, then 6%, claiming he can't go any lower, that there's no profit left. Dojin, casually holding a magic stone, thinks a merchant with no profit just won't do. With his eyes glowing, Dojin declares, out of goodwill, I'll let it slide at 1%, his final offer, non-negotiable. The manager's face contorts in a silent scream, pure anguish etched on his features. He's utterly broken, mentally calling Dojin a you goddamn thief. Dojin, a slight smirk playing on his lips, leans in. Just so you know, he begins, clearly enjoying the manager's terror. The manager and his employee are utterly terrified, their eyes wide with horror as Dojin reveals his trump card. I've got like 7 more bags like that, he announces, and their world just got a whole lot more expensive. The manager, now absolutely terrified of Dojin's endless supply of high-grade magic stones, screams at his employee to prepare the contract immediately. This was definitely not the negotiation they signed up for, but they sure weren't going to argue. Dojin casually contemplates his growing wealth, realizing that even the impossible 110 billion won house for his family is now within his grasp. All this, just by making some friends in the right places. But a new problem surfaces. While the current gates offer decent cash, they don't provide the truly high-grade magic stones he needs to quickly amass his fortune. He gazes at a shimmering rift, wishing he could freely explore these dangerous zones where true power and true wealth lie. If only the Hero Association wasn't such a buzzkill about unregistered entry. Suddenly, his phone beeps, pulling him from his thoughts. The man with glasses, likely an agent, looks absolutely stunned by whatever notification just popped up. Dojin glances at his phone, the alarming notification prompting him to wonder if a monster wave has erupted. Clearly, this wasn't going to be a peaceful afternoon. It's an administrative alert from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a rift wave in the UK, urging business travelers to reschedule. Dojin lets out a casual "oh," surprised but not really, that the chaos is now global. He looks at the trembling man, scoffing internally at those without power who are so easily rattled by these alerts. It just solidifies his belief that this world, much like his past one, only respects strength. The scene shifts, revealing Dojin's perspective in his past life. He would have instantly moved to block the rift, regardless of location or any Hero Association rules. He was truly a force of nature, unburdened by bureaucracy. But he's not that person anymore. His priorities have shifted, and his days of selflessly saving the world are over. He's got a family to protect, and that means a different kind of fight. Dojin's new fight for his family now includes a very important mission, grilling expensive meat. The sizzling sound confirms, this is a delicious, high-stakes battle. Yunying and Grandma stare at the sizzling feast, their eyes wide with awe, maybe a little shocked. This much meat must be a new experience for them. Grandma's eyes pop at the menu, shocked that premium beef costs a staggering 250,000 won per 100 grams. This was definitely not the usual family dinner spot. Dojin, cool as ever, assures Grandma not to worry about the price. He just made a massive haul, so they can eat as much as their hearts desire. Yunying's face lights up, radiating pure joy as she savors the delicious, premium beef. This little girl is living her best life right now. The waitress smiles politely as Dojin casually orders 4 servings of every single cut of premium beef. This guy is either starving or seriously rich. Grandma looks absolutely stunned, wondering how on earth they'll manage to eat all that meat. Her frugal nature is clearly clashing with Dojin's newfound wealth. Dojin smiles, urging Grandma to eat her fill, telling her to enjoy the meal to their heart's content. This happiness was worth every single monster kill. Grandma looks pleasantly overwhelmed, staring at the meat on her fork. This opulent meal was a lot to take in for her. Yunying, beaming, holds up a giant piece of meat, declaring how delicious it is. She urges Grandma to hurry and try some too. Grandma chews contentedly on the expensive meat, a blissful smile on her face. Our Yunying is truly such a good girl, she thinks, savoring the moment. Grandma is in pure culinary bliss, stuffing her cheeks with the delicious food. She happily munches. The family enjoys their extravagant meal, the grill sizzling with premium beef. This simple happiness was a luxury worth fighting for. Suddenly, a voice calls his name, pulling Dojin's attention from his family meal. His eyes flash ominously, ready for an interruption. A striking woman with purple hair and sunglasses stands over him, demanding a word. She clearly has no idea who she's interrupting. The woman recognizes him as that hero, but Dojin is utterly unfazed. Can't you see I'm eating with my family, he retorts, his voice sharp. Dojin calmly tells her to wait, completely unbothered by her imposing presence. If you have something to say, come after the meal, he states, leaving no room for argument. The woman, Hyun Juyeon, looks utterly stunned by his casual dismissal. She's clearly not used to being told to wait. Hyun Juyeon, Korea's S-rank hero, mutters about Dojin's nerve, utterly baffled by his rude behavior. What kind of man is this, she wonders, fuming. Other patrons whisper, recognizing Hyun Juyeon as the S-rank hero and world star. They can't believe the famous top 10 hero beauty is just standing there, waiting. Hyun Juyeon, the S-rank hero, stares intently, clearly annoyed at being kept waiting. Other patrons are buzzing, utterly flummoxed about who could possibly have the nerve to make a world-class beauty and hero stand by. She's definitely not used to this kind of treatment. Hyun Juyeon's eyes blaze with intensity, fixing on Dojin as his name echoes in her mind. Just 2 months prior, this very man had barely stepped into a gate for the first time and unbelievably, walked out alive. It's suspected Dojin awakened his powers during that harrowing gate incident, yet despite his apparent revival, he was officially reported as dead in the recent Mapo Rift disaster. Now he's just chilling, eating premium beef with his family, proving death is just a suggestion for some people. She thinks to herself that he is alive and standing here. She thinks how he made her tense with just a gaze. If that's not aura, I don't know what is. She thinks how it's not even been 2 months that he has awakened and he is already that much powerful. Understandable. The little girl says thanks for the meal, cheerful, getting ready to leave. Another wannabe gangstar comes in saying how our MC came out alive out the gate. He calls her MC a bug when he himself looks like a fly. Our girl know her and thinks why him of all the people. Dojin, having finished his meal, finally addresses the S-rank hero who's been waiting. Hey, he says, with a casual tone that clearly irks her, you said you had business with me, right? She stammers, baffled that he's not only alive but acting like a total civilian, unaware of her S-rank status. This rude guy keeps shocking her, and she can't process it. Dojin, facing the S-rank hero, tells her he'll hear her out, but asks for a favor in return. She looks utterly confused, wondering what kind of demand this audacious man will make. He casually points to his bewildered grandmother in Yunying, instructing the S-rank hero to simply hail a taxi and take them home. Her jaw practically hits the floor at this audacious request. Hyun Juyeon stares, utterly flabbergasted, a sweat drop forming on her temple. She's Korea's S-rank hero, not some glorified taxi service. Dojin's eyes blaze with ominous power, his focus shifting. He's got a debt to collect, and a family to protect, so he's not wasting time with pleasantries. Under Dojin's silent command, the S-rank hero, Hyun Juyeon, finds herself opening a taxi door and politely ushering his family inside. She tells them not to worry, probably still in shock. With a forced, awkward smile, Hyun Juyeon waves goodbye to the little girl and her grandmother. This was definitely not in her S-rank hero job description. The taxi drives away, leaving Hyun Juyeon alone and utterly bewildered. She lets out a frustrated sigh, probably already regretting this entire encounter. Dojin stands alone, adjusting his hair, his eyes glowing with power and confidence. Now, the real business could begin. The blonde hero who picked a fight earlier is now sweating bullets, wondering what kind of business Dojin is about to unleash. His arrogance quickly evaporated, replaced by pure confusion. But before he could even finish his threat, pure rage contorted his face, his eyes blazing red. He was absolutely ready to throw down. The poor waitress, completely terrified, tries to intervene, pleading with them to stop. This was clearly not part of the dinner service. Too late. Dojin's fist connected, sending the enraged hero flying backward in a blur. This fight was over before it even began. Chaos erupted in the diner, customers screaming and scattering. Apparently, a quiet meal was too much to ask for. The once arrogant hero, now on the ground, screams in utter terror. He knows he just messed with the wrong guy. Utterly defeated and broken, the blonde hero crumpled to his knees, Barely able to utter a sound, he finally understood his place. Dojin's eyes glowed, his expression cold as he uttered a name. Kong Chilwa. The true business was about to begin. Dojin stares down at the terrified man, his voice laced with chilling accusation. "You're the one who tried to kill me," he reveals. "We have a lot to talk about, am I right?" Dojin purrs, his eyes burning with a terrifying resolve. This was going to be a very long conversation. Kong Chilwa, defiant and desperate, spits a cruel insult at Dojin. "What do I have to talk about with a guy who even got abandoned by his father?" he sneers, but Dojin's retort about his stepmother wanting him dead hits harder. Dojin's eyes narrow, a dangerous glint in them. "Say it one more time," he warns, his voice chillingly calm as he holds up his phone, perhaps recording the confrontation. Kong Chilwa, utterly enraged, lets out a guttural scream. "Fuck off," he roars, his face contorted in a terrifying display of pure hatred. Dojin's fist, now blazing with raw power, descends like a hammer. "What do I need to say?" he calmly asks, preparing to deliver a devastating blow. Kong Chilwa, with a final, vile smirk, screams his ultimate insult, that your mother is a whore, as Dojin's empowered fist connects, his eyes glowing with rage. Kong Chilwa, fueled by pure hatred, continues his furious assault. "Just die here, Asio Dojin," he screams, his face distorted in a terrifying display of pure malice. Dojin's glowing fist collides with Kong Chilwa's desperate attack. The impact sends shockwaves, confirming Dojin's overwhelming power. Kong Chilwa's face twists in pure disbelief, his eyes wide with shock. "My fist got bounced off," he stammered, utterly stunned by Dojin's impenetrable defense. The terrified waitress frantically tries to call for help, fumbling with her phone. "PPP police." "What's the police number?" she whimpers, completely overwhelmed by the chaos. Suddenly, the S-rank hero, Hyun-Jian, appears, a confident smile on her face. "Please calm down," she says, assuring the waitress, "I'll take care of everything. Mommy just showed up." The terrified waitress, seeing the S-rank hero, stammers out a relieved "thank you." Meanwhile, Dojin's relentless assault continued, his fist slamming into Kong Chilwa's face, sending blood spraying. This guy just wouldn't quit. Hyun-Jian watches, utterly shocked to see Kong Chilwa, a B-rank hero, getting beaten so helplessly. This Dojin guy was seriously built different. Her mind raced, wondering if Dojin was actually A rank, or even higher, to so effortlessly overpower a B-rank hero. This was beyond her understanding. "Mr. Seo Dojin," a voice calls out, making Dojin pause his brutal assault, his eyes still burning with rage. Hyun-Jian warns him, her voice strained, "You might kill him." He was clearly going too far. Hyun-Jian, trying to regain control, asks Dojin, "How much do you know about Kong Chilwa?" Dojin glances back, utterly unfazed. "I think I know enough about him," he retorts, then adds, "Why does it matter?" Hyun-Jian looks utterly shocked by his nonchalance, stammering, "Of course. Kong Chilwa's cousin is Kong Yeonpyo, an S-rank hero, a dangerous revelation that changes everything now. Things are getting truly complicated." Dojin casually cuts off the S-rank hero, telling her he already knows about Kong Yeonpyo. "What's the problem?" he asks, utterly unbothered. The S-rank hero is internally reeling, realizing he already knew about Kong Yeonpyo. This guy is shockingly reckless, she thinks, utterly bewildered by his audacity. She explains that Kong Chilwa gets away with everything thanks to his S-rank cousin's protection, making Dojin's actions incredibly dangerous. Kong Chilwa was a mess on the floor, a testament to that danger. "So," she asks, "you're not afraid of Kong Yeonpyo, his S-rank cousin?" She waits for his answer, clearly thinking he's insane. Dojin pivots, telling her that more than anything, the fact she knows so much about him is starting to get on his nerves. He's not the one who should be afraid here. The waitress looks utterly horrified as Hyun-Jian, still waiting for answers, reminds Dojin she promised to handle everything. The tension is palpable, and the diner staff are clearly regretting their life choices. Hyun-Jian, suddenly formal, apologizes for the sudden visit, explaining her uncle asked her to come. She's clearly trying a different tactic. She suddenly changes tack, asking if he sold magic stones to Gazin Stone Man, then politely, almost desperately, asks him to sell his stones to her. Instead looks like she knows about his earlier negotiations. Dojin, ever the businessman, calmly asks how many magic stones she wants to buy. He's all business now. Hyun-Jian, resolute, declares she'll buy everything he has, calling him by his full name. She's clearly serious about cornering the market on his unique supply. Dojin smirks, a dangerous glint in his eye, asking if she's truly ready to buy a lot. He's clearly got an endless supply of loot. Hyun-Jian returns his smirk, confidently declaring an S-rank hero's assets are beyond imagination. She's challenging him, unaware of his true power. Dojin, still smirking, states he can sell to her, but he has one condition. Kong Chilwo, from the floor, questions his audacity. Dojin dismisses it as nothing much, adding that it's certainly nothing for an S-rank like Hyun Juyeon. He's either flattering her or setting her up for a major surprise. Suddenly, the furious daughter bursts in, screaming about how they said Dojin was dead. She's absolutely livid, utterly shocked he's alive and well. Chief Lee, sweating nervously, apologizes profusely, stammering that even the Hero Association believed Dojin was dead. His deception is falling apart, fast. The daughter rages, demanding answers on how Chief Lee will handle this mess. Refusing his pathetic excuses, Chief Lee, clearly defeated, tries to pivot to another urgent report. Chief Lee reports that Kong Chilwo was defeated by Dojin, sending the daughter into another furious spiral. She can't believe that crazy son of a bitch lost to Dojin. A chilling thought strikes the daughter, wondering if Dojin already knows too much about their schemes. Her eyes narrow in growing suspicion. The daughter vows to cover up this mess herself, even if her father or husband finds out. Her biggest fear is immediately causing their group's stock price to plummet. The daughter panics, screaming to intercept the media before they make it public, or their group will face massive backlash. She frantically demands they shut the police up, right now. Director Lee, calm and collected, confirms that both the police and media have already been completely silenced. Crisis averted, for now. The daughter visibly sags with relief, praising Director Lee for a job well done. She looks utterly exhausted by the recent chaos. But her relief is short-lived as she warns Director Lee this isn't a permanent solution. The problem, she knows, still exists. Director Lee leans in, whispering a critical detail: Kong Chilwo's cousin is Kong Youngpyo. This changes everything. The daughter's eyes widen in shock, repeating the name Kong Youngpyo in disbelief. This was a whole new level of trouble. The scene shifts to Kong Chilwo, living a lavish, chaotic life, surrounded by women and money. He was notorious as pure trash in the hero world, despite claims of his cousin's care. In reality, Kong Chilwo was nothing more than a pawn, executing Kong Youngpyo's dirty work. He was just a tool in a much larger, darker game. When Kong Chilwo messes up and gets exposed, it reflects poorly on his powerful cousin, Kong Youngpyo. This forces Kong Youngpyo to step in and handle the damage. The daughter decides they must meet Kong Youngpyo first to contain the situation. She orders Director Lee to schedule the meeting as soon as humanly possible. The daughter asks Director Lee about President Huang Changsip of HCS Capital, who they believe has betrayed them. Director Lee confirms it, revealing Huang Changsip is now taking care of Dojin's family. Her face contorts in fury, demanding Director Lee contact Prosecutor Park immediately. Huang Changsip will pay dearly for betraying her and siding with Dojin. This is a full-blown declaration of war. The scene shifts to a dangerous rift zone entrance, where elite heroes and agents gather. Korea is riddled with 37 such zones, each a potential nightmare. Only 5 of these dangerous zones are managed as regular gates, the rest are wild, requiring heroes to coordinate massive raids. It's a constant battle to keep the chaos contained. An agent confirms Hyun Juyeon's S-rank identity, granting her access to the deadly rift zone. They wish her a safe exploration, a chilling send-off into the unknown. In the eerie rift zone, Dojin's hooded form moves through the desolate landscape. Apparently, even an S-rank like Hyun Juyeon gets thoroughly vetted at the single entrance, keeping everyone on edge. Hyun Juyeon looks sternly at Jong In-ju, the A-rank hero and guild master, who seems utterly baffled. She can't believe Hyun Juyeon would suggest hunting in the dangerous rift zone first. Hyun Juyeon shrugs, admitting she just wanted to do something for fun. Apparently, for an S-rank hero, fun involves risking life and limb in a monster-infested rift zone. Dojin lays down his terms, his eyes intense. If they let him into the rift zone, he'll sell all his magic stones at market price, because that's where the real money, and real hunting, is. Hyun Juyeon's jaw drops, utterly stunned. He came all the way to this dangerous rift zone, facing unimaginable peril, just for better hunting and more money. This guy is truly insane. Hyun Juyeon, still reeling from Dojin's audacity, can't believe this guy came to a deadly rift zone just for profit. She muses that if it wasn't for her uncle's favor, she'd still need a hero magic stone from someone like him. The other hero, baffled by Dojin, directly asks Hyun Juyeon who this mysterious man is. She casually dismisses it, calling him just someone I know. The other hero is completely unconvinced by Hyun Juyeon's vague answer, pressing her harder for the truth. He even suggests Dojin might be her potential boyfriend, completely missing the point. Hyun Juyeon quickly denies any romantic interest, stating she just brought him along to repay a debt. Her fellow hero is utterly flabbergasted, questioning how an S-rank hero could possibly owe anyone. The other heroes continue to eye Dojin with suspicion, still confused by his strange presence and Hyun Juyeon's explanation. One of them seems to vaguely recall a previous encounter, connecting the dots. Suddenly, the heroes' relaxed expressions shatter into pure shock, their eyes wide with alarm. A new threat has emerged, and they were completely unprepared. A monstrous, red-feathered beast, a cockatrice, dives from the sky, its massive talons extended. The heroes brace for impact, the air crackling with danger. The male hero screams in pure terror, identifying the terrifying creature. It's the dreaded cockatrice, a monster known for its deadly gaze. Hyun Juyeon snaps into action, barking orders to her team. With a fierce resolve, she quickly assigns defense and targets, taking command of the chaotic situation. As the cockatrice prepares to strike, Dojin launches himself into the air, a blur of motion. He's heading straight for the monster, ready to intervene. Hyun Juyeon and the other heroes are absolutely stunned as Dojin, seemingly out of nowhere, launches himself at the terrifying cockatrice. Mr. Seo Dojin, they scream in disbelief, completely caught off guard by his reckless charge. This guy truly has no chill. Dojin's eyes blaze with grim determination, his glowing fist pulled back for a devastating blow. First one, he mutters, completely unfazed by the monstrous threat ahead. He's barely warmed up. The A-rank hero Jong In-ju is visibly annoyed, cursing her bad timing. TCH, right when I entered the gate, she snaps, clearly not thrilled about Dojin's chaotic entrance stealing her thunder. This was supposed to be her heroic moment. Hyun Juyeon, now back in S-rank hero mode, barks frantic orders to her team. She's desperately trying to coordinate a defense, but Dojin is already making his move. This was not part of the plan. Dojin slams into the colossal cockatrice mid-flight, a blur of raw power against the monstrous beast. He's not here to play defense, he's here to end it. In a single, brutal strike, Dojin brings the massive cockatrice crashing down, a heap of feathers and bone. He stands over it, barely breaking a sweat, as if he just took out a housefly. Hyun Juyeon and her team are utterly flabbergasted, staring at the fallen beast in disbelief. What the did it die in just one hit? One hero stammers, completely dumbfounded by Dojin's monstrous strength. But Dojin's voice cuts through their shock, chillingly declaring, not yet. He's clearly not finished with this overgrown chicken. With a decisive, brutal stomp, Dojin crushes the monster's head, leaving no room for doubt. It has to die like this, he states, delivering the final, bone-shattering blow. The hero stares in utter terror, his voice trembling as he asks, who's that guy? They just witnessed something truly terrifying, and it wasn't the monster. Hyun Juyeon's face is a mask of disbelief and fear, wondering if this man is truly just a human. Despite her own S-rank power, his strength defies all logic, leaving her utterly baffled. The agitated hero confronts Hyun Juyeon, scoffing at her calm demeanor. He screams, demanding to know how many heroes, even S-ranks, could possibly take down a terrifying cockatrice in a single blow. Hyun Juyeon coolly retorts, her smirk unsettling, if it's just knocking them down like that, even my sister can do it. White her casual dismissal infuriates her team, but her words suggest a deeper, unsettling truth about Dojin's power. The furious hero continues his rant, accusing Hyun Juyeon of talking nonsense. He screams that the cockatrice couldn't even dodge the punch, getting knocked out in a single aerial hit, a feat that should be impossible. Hyun Juyeon's annoyance shifts to grim resolve, cursing the monster. Her expression suggests she knows the true, terrifying implications of Dojin's overwhelming power. As Dojin calmly walks away, a new thought consumes Hyun Juyeon's mind. That man, she ponders, what's his true identity? A chilling question echoing in her head. Hyun Juyeon, now resolute, quickly orders her subordinate to change the plan. This casual encounter with Dojin just shattered all her previous assumptions. Hyun Juyeon announces she's going to the center, leaving her team stunned and bewildered. Her casual demeanor hides a frantic shift in strategy. Dojin kneels by the colossal cockatrice, calmly extracting its core with a knife, as if it's just another Tuesday. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the quiet, calling out, "Excuse me," interrupting his work. Dojin holds up a glittering red magic stone, coldly declaring he has no intention of sharing with someone who contributed nothing. Hyun Juyeon glares, clearly annoyed by his bluntness and selfishness, but intrigued by his loot. Hyun Juyeon snatches back the rare magic stone Dojin had, telling him she wasn't asking for it anyway. His casual disregard for its value clearly annoyed her, but she still took it. Hyun Juyeon glares, clearly unimpressed, telling Dojin his abilities don't fit into their usual hero ranks here. Then, surprisingly, she asks if he wants to go deeper into the rift. Dojin smirks, his eyes glinting dangerously as he grips his sword. This could be fun, he muses, ready for whatever hidden horrors the rift holds. Hyunjuin confidently strides ahead, claiming to know this place well and instructing Dojin to follow closely so he doesn't get lost. Looks like she's playing tour guide in a deadly rift. They shot through the rift at blinding speed, a mere blur against the green landscape. It was a race against the unknown. Dojin kept pace effortlessly, his strides long and powerful. This was barely a warm-up for him. Suddenly, a massive shockwave erupted behind them, sending debris flying and leaving the slower heroes screaming in surprise. They clearly weren't ready for this pace. Whoa, the shocked hero exclaims, realizing Hyunjuin moves like a bullet, but Dojin, he's moving like pure light itself. Their speed was truly insane. Guild Master, aren't we going? A bewildered hero asks, only to be met with a rhetorical, can you follow, as his companion resignedly confirms, of course, it's impossible. Yeah, we're just sidekicks today, one hero sighs, deciding they should just hunt around like usual. Yeah, the other agrees, accepting their fate as Dojin and Hyunjuin leave them in the dust. One of the A-rank heroes sighs, conceding defeat in the face of overwhelming power. Everyone praises them as A-rank heroes, but it means little now. The female A-rank hero, battered and exhausted, silently acknowledges their true standing in front of an S-rank like Juyin. They're nothing but small fry. Her eyes widen in chilling realization, extending her thought to the mysterious man, Dojin. That man, too, is far beyond their comprehension. Meanwhile, Dojin casually muses if he should slow down a bit, already feeling bored by the pace. He's clearly going too fast for even S-ranks. Hyunjuin, gritting her teeth, pushes harder, demanding if they can go even faster. She's determined not to be left behind. She's panting, utterly shocked that she's struggling to keep up with him when it comes to speed. I'm in the top 2 in South Korea, she thinks, bewildered. Dojin coolly turns to her, calling her slower than he expected, and accusing her of running like she wanted him to fail. Hyunjuin fumes, denying she was trying to escape him. Dojin simply hums, unfazed by her protests, leaving Hyunjuin flustered and wondering, when did I? Annoyed, Hyunjuin snaps to Dojin, abruptly changing the subject. Hey, she asks, what's over there, sensing something else ahead. Her eye, gleaming with a violet light, reflects a glimpse of a hidden, ancient ruin. That place, she muses, is calling to her. Hyunjuin confirms that ominous ruin is where the rift's boss monster hides. Dojin's casual inquiry about a boss monster highlights his ignorance or lack of fear. She reveals it's a terrifying 20-meter wyvern-like monster named Kasirian, a beast so powerful it takes at least 3 S-rank heroes to even stand a chance. Clearly, Dojin just walked into a nightmare. Dojin casually asks if it drops the mythical imaginary grade magic stone, completely ignoring her warning. She stares in disbelief, wondering if he's even listening to her. This guy's priorities are definitely different. Hyunjuin, utterly aghast, can't believe he's seriously contemplating fighting it. She reminds him she didn't bring him here for reckless suicide missions. Her face contorts in pure horror, eyes wide as saucers. My God, she gasps, what is he trying to do, utterly speechless at his audacity. But Dojin is already gone, a blur of motion, rushing deeper into the rift. He's clearly going straight for the boss, and fast. Hyunjuin stands frozen, utterly bewildered. What the hell is happening, she stammers, completely unprepared for his impulsive charge. She looks down, and there it is, the colossal Kasirian, already defeated, lying motionless on the ground right now. She whispers, utterly stunned by the speed of its demise. Her face is still a mask of disbelief. Kasirian, the monster so powerful it takes multiple S-rank heroes, just got obliterated. This is Park Hae-il, an S-rank hero whose legendary fame comes from being the only one capable of hunting Kasirian, and Dojin just one-shot it. Even the legendary Park Hae-il, the only one who could hunt Kasirian, needed 30 A-rank heroes for his first brutal encounter. Every single A-rank hero was annihilated, leaving Park Hae-il a bloody mess, barely clinging to life. That's how terrifying Kasirian truly was. After that living nightmare, Park Hae-il wasn't broken, he was forged into a legend, scarred but alive. He gathered an army, 1 S-rank hero, and 200 A-ranks, all for a brutal revenge mission against the very beast Dojin just casually flattened. The Kasirian monster erupted in pure chaos, its raw power smashing against the combined might of an S-rank and 200 A-ranks. They finally succeeded, celebrating a hard-won victory against the terrifying monster, but this triumph came at a devastating price. Most of the heroes who joined that legendary hunt never walked out alive. It was a victory soaked in blood. Even 3 years later, Park Hae-il's mega guild, Sweet Life, was still reeling, utterly unable to recover its strength. The scars of that battle ran deep. Back in the present, Hyun-juyeon is absolutely fuming, reminding Dojin, "You know you didn't contribute anything, right?" Her anger quickly shifts to utter disbelief. "If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes," she mutters, "I wouldn't have believed it." The infamous Kazarian monster, a beast of pure terror, looms in the memory. Its dark form and glowing red eye hint at the power it once wielded, a true nightmare come to life. And yet, that very beast, the one that crippled heroes, was utterly decimated. Hyun-juyeon, the S-rank hero, stares in disbelief, utterly shocked it was taken down by him in a single strike. Dojin stands calmly, holding a massive, glittering red magic stone, a trophy from the legendary beast. His eyes hold a quiet satisfaction, hinting at the power he now commands. Dojin casually stows his loot, telling the S-rank hero he no longer needs her guidance. He's clearly done with the tour, and ready to roll solo. "From now on, I'll move on my own," Dojin declares, turning his back on the baffled S-rank hero. He's clearly a lone wolf, doing things his way. "Aren't you going to take any Kazarian byproducts?" Hyun-juyeon asks, pointing to the valuable monster parts. She emphasizes their academic value, clearly baffled by his disinterest in anything but magic stones. Dojin flashes a dismissive smirk, simply stating, "They're not profitable." Clearly, only cold, hard cash talks for this guy, not academic value. "It's more efficient to hunt other monsters for magic stones," Dojin explains, waving off the Kazarian byproducts. He then casually offers them to Hyun-juyeon as a guide fee, leaving her utterly flabbergasted. The pristine mountains loom in the distance, as Hyun-juyeon, utterly bewildered, is left to process his casual dismissal. "She doesn't need them," she concludes, still reeling from his sheer audacity. "That guy borrowed the giant backpack and came back completely filled with magic stones," one hero exclaims to his stunned comrade. "Can you believe it?" he asks, utterly baffled by the sheer haul. The heroes are utterly stunned, calculating that Dojin's casual haul would take their entire guild days of non-stop hunting. He just made them look completely useless, without even trying. Hyun-juyeon, still baffled by Dojin's power, can only ponder his true identity. This guy is a complete mystery, and she can't quite figure him out. Even setting aside Dojin's insane speed and how much he's hauling, the heroes are still reeling from his raw power. They're realizing he's on a whole other level. A hero's face contorts in pure shock, realizing if Hyun-juyeon's suspicions are correct, then Dojin is far more terrifying than they ever imagined. He took down Kazarian alone, without a single piece of hero gear. That insane feat made him the strongest hero in Korea, maybe even the entire world. Dojin's casual monster haul leaves the heroes utterly bewildered. They realize no one would ever believe them if they told the tale of his insane hunting spree. People would just think they were crazy. The heroes agree to keep Dojin's impossible feats a secret, knowing no one would believe their wild stories anyway. It's better to stay silent than be labeled insane. While Dojin and Hyun-juyeon casually chat, the other heroes watch them, utterly bewildered by their mysterious conversation. They clearly have no idea what's really going on between these two powerhouses. The heroes whisper about Dojin and Hyun-juyeon, convinced they're flirting, especially after she brought such a mysterious guy into the rift. They're clearly seeing sparks, even if it's just raw power. They continue to comment on Dojin's looks, agreeing he's handsome enough to stand beside an S-rank beauty like Hyun-juyeon. The heroes are totally convinced they make a perfect, powerful couple. The hero quickly backpedals, realizing his previous assumption of flirting was completely wrong. This wasn't romance, it was something else entirely. His fellow hero stares, utterly baffled by Dojin's bluntness. He's openly treating an S-rank hero like she's nothing, and it's completely unheard of. Dojin casually hands Hyun-juyeon a massive, overflowing bag of mana stones, a casual ow echoing from a stunned observer. This guy just made an S-rank hero his personal porter. Dojin simply walks away, leaving Hyun-juyeon and the other heroes in stunned silence. He left without a word, completely unfazed. The hero points at more massive, full backpacks, realizing Dojin just left them all behind. He hunted an entire rift, then dumped the loot on an S-rank. Hyun-juyeon recounts how she told Dojin he'd be famous for beating Kazarian, clearly setting up a punchline. The hero looks bewildered. The hero's jaw drops as Hyun-juyeon reveals Dojin hates the spotlight and dumped all the fame and the Kazarian byproducts on her. He's utterly flabbergasted by Dojin's casual disregard for glory. The hero stares, utterly bewildered, asking Hyun-juyeon, "What kind of guy is that?" completely unable to comprehend Dojin's eccentric behavior. Hyun Juyeon is flustered, a blush dusting her cheeks as she too ponders Dojin's true nature. She's clearly more than just annoyed, she's utterly intrigued by his mysterious power. The scene shifts, revealing the legendary S-rank hero, Park Hae-il, looking absolutely furious and battered. Looks like someone else is having a very, very bad day. Park Hae-il, battered and furious, is interrupted by his grinning advisor. He attempts to soothe the guildmaster, spinning his current hardship as a strategic crouch before a mighty leap. The advisor continues to sweet-talk Park Hae-il, promising that every ounce of endurance now will forge an even greater reputation. He's laying on the flattery thick, suggesting big things are coming. Park Hae-il, wiping sweat from his face, seems to buy into the hype, vowing to strike down those who underestimated him. His advisor eagerly agrees, confirming his strength will condense into explosive power. Sweat drips down Park Hae-il's face as his advisor paints a grand vision. He's promised a future where everyone will bow down before him, and the guildmaster looks utterly convinced. The advisor reminds Park Hae-il that he's the world's leading expert on Khazarian strategy. He's carefully stroking the guildmaster's ego, setting him up for another round. He continues to flatter, promising that one day Park Hae-il will be known as the hero who took down Khazarian with the fewest people. He even suggests the Hero Association will grant him exclusive hunting rights. Indeed, a hand confirms, accepting a bottle in a subtle gesture of agreement. It seems the advisor's words have landed perfectly. Park Hae-il laughs confidently, holding the bottle, fully convinced no one knows Khazarian as well as he does. His advisor watches, satisfied with the successful manipulation. But the reality is stark, a trophy and an old teen photo highlighting the truth. Compared to 3 years ago, the guild's influence has shrunk dramatically, despite his delusions of grandeur. Still, Park Hae-il clings to his self-belief, sweat beading on his brow as he boasts he's the only one who can take down that monster bird. He desperately seeks validation, even from himself. The advisor, still laying it on thick, assures Park Hae-il that only the guildmaster could possibly accomplish such a feat. He's really buttering him up. The scene shifts to Kang Youngpyo, an S-rank hero, who suddenly hears the name Seo Dojin and asks, "Is it him?" His interest peaked. Turns out, this guy is Kang Chulwa's S-rank cousin. Yes, he's told a few months ago, Kang Chulwa tried to trap Seo Dojin in a gate and kill him. The room's opulence hides a sinister past. The other man in the room looks shocked, confirming that Dojin not only survived the assassination attempt but actually awakened his powers in the gate. What an unexpected turn of events. The mastermind behind the assassination attempt is revealed as Hong Hee-ju, a powerful executive and heiress. The question looms, why would such a wealthy woman target a seemingly ordinary guy like Dojin? The scene shifts to Dojin's tragic past, an illegitimate child brought into a wealthy family, only to be cruelly cast aside when Hong Hee-ju had her own son. His childhood was a nightmare of rejection and abandonment. The man with the sinister smirk chuckles, musing that in the ruthless world of the wealthy, even blood ties mean nothing. It's all about power and succession. The ruthless questioning continues, demanding to know the exact price of the assassination attempt. How much did Kang Chulwo get for trying to kill Dojin? 3 billion won, a staggering sum, was paid for the hit, but the cold response of "that's it" suggests it's a meager price for a life, or perhaps for a hero of Dojin's unexpected caliber. A hand casually grips a golf club as a chilling question hangs in the air. Was Kang Chulwo, the hitman, left crippled by Dojin's unexpected survival? This was definitely more than they bargained for. Kang Chulwo was brutally beaten, his entire body covered in burn scars. He barely survived, and his eyes are now blind. The man's face contorts, condemning Dojin as a ruthless bastard for what he did to Kang Chulwo. His sinister grin reveals his true nature, wishing he could have been the one to brutally finish Dojin off instead. But there's more to the story. Something even more surprising happened at the scene of the confrontation. The golf club strikes the ball as a shocking rumor drops. S-rank hero Hyun Juyeon apparently helped Dojin. He explodes in frustration, demanding to know why an S-rank hero would help a bastard like Dojin, and what their true relationship is. His subordinate nervously admits he doesn't know, but thanks to Hyun Juyeon's testimony, the entire chaotic incident was quietly swept under the rug. Enraged, he grabs his subordinate, screaming orders to immediately uncover the truth about Dojin and Hyun Juyeon's connection. There had to be some kind of deal, and he needed to know what it was. The terrified subordinate scrambles away, vowing to uncover the mysterious truth behind Dojin's impossible survival and his connection to the S-rank hero. The man's sinister smirk confirms his plans. Hong Hee-ju's people will soon come for him, expecting him to finish the job that Kang Chulwo failed to do. The sinister man from before, now with a confident smirk, declares he doesn't mind the new mission, he's clearly ready for whatever Hong Hee-ju throws his way. His eyes glow with greed, a chilling smirk on his face, he's thinking only of the massive payout from the rich Madame Hong Hee-ju, eager to complete her sinister request. Meanwhile, Dojin muses on his insane haul, confirming that hunting in a raw rift is far more efficient than any regulated gate. That explains all his new cash. He walks away, a new problem looming. Does this mean he'll need the S-rank hero's help to enter rifts from now on? He really doesn't want to rely on anyone. Han Juyin, still in the rift, ponders her next move. Selling the Khazarian magic stones would expose Dojin's absurd strength, attracting unwanted media attention and questioning her own S-rank prowess. She decides to hold onto them for now. She stares, knowing Dojin isn't interested in fame, but she gives him an out anyway, so she wonders, what will he do now that he's back? Dojin, however, has other plans, a determined smirk on his face. He needs to find another way back into these dangerous rift zones, without relying on any S-rank heroes. Under the full moon, Dojin heads towards the new house Huang Changseep set up. It's time for some much-needed rest after his chaotic adventures. Inside the luxurious new house, Dojin finds an entire collection of fancy shoes. What in the world, he thinks, completely baffled by the formal footwear. Suddenly, a voice screams Appa, and Dojin turns, looking utterly annoyed as he stands in a doorway. His peaceful rest was clearly over. Yunying and Grandma looked terrified as Huang Changseep shielded them, while a group of ominous men in suits loomed behind him. Dojin instinctively pulled Yunying close, shielding her as ominous figures demanded to know who he was, confirming they were there for Seo Dojin. A stern-faced man introduced himself as Prosecutor Park Kyoleong, from the Seoul District Prosecutor's Office, and immediately asked if Dojin knew Huang Changseep. The prosecutor then dropped the bombshell, placing Dojin under urgent arrest for his alleged involvement in Huang Changseep's illegal high-interest loan sharking operation. Just like that, Dojin, the sword god, found himself handcuffed and sitting in a cold, sterile interrogation room. This was definitely a new kind of battle. Meanwhile, an unknown man strolled confidently, assuring someone named Mr. Lee that Huang Changseep and even Seo Dojin were being very obedient. The smug man, on the phone, chuckled, thanking the person on the other end for taking care of his daughter's studies abroad. He ended the call, asking his subordinate to give his regards to Director Hong, hinting at a connection to the very family Dojin was trying to escape. The scene shifts back to Dojin in the interrogation room, as the prosecutor's voice echoed in his mind, revealing his grand reason for becoming a prosecutor. The prosecutor's smug face appeared again, his words chillingly clear. He became a prosecutor to isolate trash from society. This guy was definitely enjoying his job, a little too much. The prosecutor, still smug, declares that the charges alone would land Dojin in prison for a decade. He's clearly enjoying the power trip, thinking he has all the leverage. The prosecutor boasts he's already dug up enough evidence, thanks to Huang Changsub, to prove every single charge. Dojin, however, remains completely unfazed, his gaze unwavering. The prosecutor explodes in fury, screaming at Dojin, daring him to deny the mountain of evidence he claims to have. He's clearly losing his composure, while Dojin barely blinks. A shocking name drops from Dojin's lips. Hong Hee-ju, is it that bitch doing this? He asks, connecting the dots and realizing the true orchestrator of this mess. The prosecutor is stunned by his sudden insight. Both Dojin and the prosecutor, in a strange moment of parallel thought, simultaneously demand to know the identity of Hong Hee-ju. This name has clearly hit a nerve for both of them, though for very different reasons. Dojin internally muses that Huang Changsub's entire operation has clearly been devastated, probably by his own doing. He realizes he's been playing along to avoid making a scene, but his patience is running thin. Dojin steps forward, cutting off the prosecutor. I don't know where you heard this from, but... He begins, his tone dangerously calm. The prosecutor, now trembling, screams at Dojin, asking if he thinks a Korean prosecutor is a joke. He furiously declares Dojin is done for, completely underestimating the man in front of him. Dojin's eyes glow with menacing power, his face shadowed in dark resolve. The prosecutor's empty threats only fuel his simmering rage, promising a brutal awakening. The prosecutor stands frozen, stammering incoherent sounds, utterly shocked by Dojin's silent display of power. He finally realizes he's dealing with something far beyond his understanding or control. The prosecutor, utterly terrified, finally screams as Dojin corners him, his silent power too much to bear. Just as things get intense, an unexpected voice calls Prosecutor Park out of the room, interrupting the tense confrontation. The empty hallway is left in silence, broken only by the prosecutor's confused scream, echoing his disbelief. Confused, Prosecutor Park questions his colleague about the hero meter, only to be told it's perfectly fine, his equipment wasn't faulty. The colleague reveals the hero meter labeled Dojin a civilian, sparking disbelief and a desperate denial from Prosecutor Park this was impossible. Prosecutor Park struggles to comprehend Dojin's civilian status, wondering if their intelligence about his awakening was completely wrong. He was baffled. Dojin, unseen, contemplates the prosecutor's confusion, realizing they're underestimating him. Meanwhile, the prosecutor questions Dojin's identity, especially after he dared to utter Hong Heeju's name. Dojin, eyes burning with quiet fury, mentally labels the prosecutors mad dogs and debates whether to simply destroy everything in his path. His patience was running thin. He decides to escape this chaotic life, yearning for a quiet place where it's just him, grandma, and Eunyoung, a peaceful dream. His thoughts are interrupted by a striking woman with purple hair, who suddenly appears, catching him completely off guard. What was she doing here? He sits alone in the interrogation room, looking utterly bored. I don't know what I'm doing here either, he muses, clearly unimpressed by the police station's hospitality. The S-rank hero, Hyun Juyeon, warns him not to use force, explaining the aftermath would be a real headache. She clearly thinks he's about to cause more trouble. Dojin turns to her, asking if she truly wants to help him. Nah, rather than helping, he muses, clearly rejecting her offer, already scheming. Hyun Juyeon calmly states they know he was framed, and the Hero Association intends to fix it right away. Looks like someone's getting a formal apology. Dojin's lips curve into a knowing smirk. Is that so? He drawls, clearly not fully trusting their sudden change of heart. Hyun Juyeon assures him the Hero Association will investigate, keeping a close eye on Mappo's shady hero IDs and any new rifts. She's literally touching his shoulder, a surprisingly close gesture for an S-rank. Dojin's expression hardens as he cuts to the chase, demanding, "What about my family?" Hyun Juyeon looks away, a flicker of hesitation on her face. Hyun Juyeon snaps, clearly annoyed, asking if he thinks she's his secretary, then demands why she has to bother with his family. Her patience is definitely wearing thin. Hyun Juyeon, regaining her composure, calmly assures him, "Don't worry, your family is safe." Dojin watches her, a silent question in his eyes. A faint, rare smile touches Dojin's lips. "Thanks," he murmurs, then adds, with a dangerous glint in his eye, "I'll pay this debt," a promise that sounded more like a threat to any who stood in his way. Hyun Juyeon, slightly flustered, tells Dojin to be patient. She promises to solve his legal woes as fast as possible, clearly intrigued by his debt payment promise. The scene shifts to the bright, modern prosecution service building. Hyun Juyeon's method wasn't to prove Dojin's innocence, but something far more direct. Prosecutor Park Kyoleon was promptly dismissed after being caught accepting bribes, his car speeding away. A fair investigation confirmed Dojin had absolutely nothing to do with the shady loan shark operation. Although Dojin couldn't avoid punishment for operating without a hero license, thanks to Hyun Juyeon's impressive legal defense, even that ended with just probation. She's definitely got connections. The scene shifts to a news report on a car's screen, announcing a terrifying new monster has appeared in the UK, attacking civilians. It's 15 meters tall, has 4 eyes, and its venom is extremely potent. Dojin calmly identifies the monstrous threat by name. It's Makashin. Hyun Juyeon, looking utterly surprised, asks how he possibly knew. Hyun Juyeon is completely baffled, explaining that Makashin is a brand new monster, its name known only within the Hero Association. Dojin's casual knowledge is seriously unsettling her. Dojin looks away, his face etched with grim memories. He states that a monster's name isn't something one decides on their own, hinting at a darker truth. A red mana stone is shown hooked up to scientific equipment, revealing its secrets. Mana stones contain both condensed energy and the monster's unique information, allowing humanity to learn its name and other crucial details. A split panel shows the vibrant Earth, contrasted with a ruined, shattered world. On Earth, knowledge comes from the power of science, but in the ruined world, it was through the raw power of magic. The same terrifying monsters that plagued his old world now spill into this one, and Dojin knows exactly what each one is called. This guy is literally a walking encyclopedia of doom. Dojin calmly explains how to neutralize the terrifying Makashin monster with a simple red flower ant extract. His casual knowledge leaves his companion utterly bewildered. The seemingly harmless ant extract is lethal to Makashins, immobilizing them completely. Dojin just casually revealed a secret weakness that could save thousands. Hyun Juyeon stares, utterly baffled, asking Dojin who he truly is. His casual knowledge of ancient monster weaknesses is far too much for an ordinary civilian. Dojin, ignoring her question, simply asks if she's listening to him, making her visibly annoyed. This guy just doesn't play by anyone's rules. Dojin's expression darkens, a chilling question forming on his lips. He's about to get very serious, very fast. His eyes blaze with a terrifying golden light as he bluntly asks what would happen if he killed Hong Heju. This was no idle threat, this was a deadly proposition. The scene shifts to an office where Chief Lee reports the unfolding chaos to a red-haired woman. The situation with Dojin, apparently, just got way more complicated than they anticipated. The woman bites her nail in frustration, utterly perplexed by Hyun Juyan's involvement with Dojin. Why is an S-rank hero defending him, she wonders, clearly suspicious. Chief Lee nervously admits he has no idea what Hyun Juyan's relationship with Dojin is, or how they even met. This whole situation is a massive, unsettling mystery for them. The red-haired woman, Hong Heju, fumes, utterly baffled by Hyun Juyan's interference. What the hell is going on, she seethes, her fury escalating. She whirls on Chief Lee, demanding answers. And what does it mean that Dojin is not a hero, she screams, I heard he awakened. Chief Lee, sweating nervously, admits he's also baffled, confirming Dojin seems awakened, but speculates if he has an ability to trick their detectors. It's just a theory, he adds, still confused. Enraged, Hong Heju screams for someone to contact Kong Yangpyo. Forget 20 billion, she snarls, I'll give him 30 billion, just make him work. The sinister Kong Yangpyo casually rejects the offer. I can't do it with only 30 billion, he scoffs, demanding they make it double. His subordinate looks utterly flabbergasted, asking if doubling the price isn't excessive. Kong Yangpyo's hand gestures dismissively. Of course not, Kong Yangpyo scoffs, casually propping up his feet. From Hong Heju's perspective, he asserts, there's no better option than him, and 60 billion won is nothing if he resolves this problem. His eyes blaze with a sinister glow as he smirks. They even brought in Hyun Juyan, he muses, believing that's the least they should do when facing an S-rank threat. The subordinate looks nervous, acknowledging Hyun Juyan is indeed a dangerous opponent. He clearly understands the gravity of the situation. Kong Yangpyo snarls, furious at his subordinate's naivete. This bastard doesn't know anything, he growls, boasting that he can take down Hyun Juyan in just 20 minutes. Kong Yangpyo's subordinate, utterly terrified, stammered a frantic yes. He was clearly intimidated by Kong Yangpyo's boast of taking down an S-rank hero in just 20 minutes. Kong Yangpyo, with a confident, smug smile, asked if they had heard back from the Hero Association. He clearly expected good news, or more money. Turns out, the UK branch said they couldn't increase the payment any further. The negotiation for more cash was a bust, much to Kong Yangpyo's annoyance. Kong Yangpyo cursed under his breath, clearly frustrated that the Hero Association was making it impossible for him to turn down the mission. They were making it not worth his time. He complained that the association bastards were even greedier, then demanded his departure schedule. Turns out, he was scheduled to depart in 3 days. He was scheduled for a trip with Japanese heroes. Oh, Japan, he mused, adding that he was going to see someone named Takashi anyway. This guy was clearly a global player. He pondered the Makashin, a new monster whose weakness had yet to be discovered. This was not just a threat, but a golden opportunity. He burst into laughter, declaring that if he found the Makashin's weakness, his own value would skyrocket. This guy truly only cared about money and fame. Suddenly, dark clouds and ominous purple lightning engulfed England. A new, terrifying rift had just torn open, signaling pure chaos. A terrifying monster, possibly the Makashin, descended upon England, causing mass panic. The calm before the storm was over, and a new nightmare had begun. Kong Yangpyo and his subordinate look stressed as the terrifying Makashin monster unleashes chaos upon England. This was not the welcome they expected, especially not for a global S-rank hero. The Makashin monster is shown in full, its horrifying insectoid form causing utter devastation. It's an unstoppable force, tearing through the cityscape like paper. Kong Yangpyo stares in disbelief, a single question echoing in his mind: what on earth is happening to this monster, he wonders, utterly baffled. A powerful blast of energy slams into the white-haired hero, sending him recoiling in agony. This monster is definitely built different, even for an S rank. Britain's heroes are putting up a desperate fight against the monstrous invasion, but without vital intel, they're completely helpless. The cityscape burns, devoured by the relentless tide of alien beasts. The Cambridge defensive line has completely crumbled, and now the monstrous horde is less than 60 kilometers from London. The capital is directly in the path of this terrifying, unstoppable invasion. A group of agents stares in stunned horror as the grim news confirms the impossible. Holy, it's real, one gasps, realizing the full scope of the catastrophe unfolding. Hyun Juyeon's eyes widen, a flicker of surprise and triumph in her gaze. Dojin was right, the red flower ant extract is working, and the Makashian monster is completely overwhelmed. It's a game changer. Kang Yongpyo stares, utterly bewildered, his mind racing to comprehend the impossible. There's no way this woman is this skilled, he thinks, utterly baffled by Hyun Juyeon's unexpected prowess. Hyun Juyeon, radiating confidence, flashes a triumphant smile. Okay, now let's go and finish it up, she commands, and her team responds with a resounding yes, ready to capitalize on their newfound advantage. Hyun Juyeon, blade glinting purple, soared through the air with unmatched grace and deadly intent. Her team followed, a whirlwind of powerful strikes, ready to finally end this chaotic monster wave. Back in Korea, the media swarmed, their faces stunned, as one reporter exclaimed, "Wow, that was absolutely insane. Looks like the UK mission was a showstopper." "No doubt, that's Hyun Juyeon," another reporter confirmed, praising her most outstanding performance in the UK. "She absolutely stole the show. She figured out Makashian's weakness and literally became a hero," he beamed. "She saved the UK from despair, so she's a hero." Whispers of the British royal family bestowing knighthood on Hyun Juyeon filled the air. Then, a voice screamed, "There she is," as the S-rank hero finally appeared. "Miss Hyun Juyeon, please look this way," the reporters clamored, badgering her with questions. "How did you figure out Makashian's weakness?" they probed, as she visibly looked annoyed. Kang Yongpyo, all smiles and smugness, basked in the media's attention. "Mr. Kang Yongpyo, please share your thoughts," a reporter asked, acknowledging he caught the most Makashian on the expedition. A reporter announced the return of 200 heroes, including Hyun Juyeon, declaring that South Korea's proud heroes had saved the UK. The media was clearly spinning a narrative, giving credit where they thought it was due. The news proudly declared the key to hunting Makashian was the extract from the red flower ant. Dojin's casual revelation had become a worldwide sensation, even if he didn't get the credit. 3 sparkling shopping bags sat neatly, a voice declaring, "This is the gift for you." Someone was definitely getting spoiled. Dojin stared at the gifts, a single question on his mind. "Gift," he mused, completely unfazed by the unexpected gesture. Hyun Juyeon, with a confident smile, explained the gifts were for Eunyoung and Grandma. Then, she revealed a special one, just for him. Dojin started to open the bag, but Hyun Juyeon quickly stopped him. "Take it home before opening it," she advised. "You shouldn't do it here." He peered into the bag, noticing the clothes looked incredibly expensive. This was no ordinary gift, that was for sure. Hyun Juyeon confirmed it was a reward for his help. "Thanks to you," she purred, "I became a hero." She continued, offering to buy him a car if he needed one, acknowledging it was a small gift compared to what he gave her. Dojin simply stated he'd tell her when he needed it, then added, "I also received help." Hyun Juyeon pressed, asking if he would tell her how he knew Makashian's weakness. Dojin, his eyes unyielding, countered, "Is there a reason why I should answer it?" She paused, then asked, "What are your plans for the future?" Then, trying a different approach. Hyun Juyeon internally mused she didn't expect an answer like world peace from this man, but if he targeted Hong Heeju or Kang Yongpyo, things would get worse, so she knew she needed to stop him. Dojin looked away, a serious expression on his face. First, he began, ready to reveal his next move. Picking up from first, Dojin calmly declares his next big plan. He thinks he should buy a house. His casual ambition leaves S-rank hero Hyun Juyeon utterly flabbergasted. "Are you renting the house you're living in?" Hyun Juyeon presses, her face unseen but her question hanging heavy in the air. Dojin simply remains silent, his expression unreadable. The scene shifts to a lavish pool party, filled with women in bikinis, laughter echoing under the night sky. This is where the rich and powerful play, oblivious to the world's chaos. The man, likely Kang Yongpyo, relaxes in the pool with 2 women, a glass of wine in his hand. Despite the luxury, a tired, almost haunted look crosses his face. Kang Yongpyo mutters Hyun Juyeon's name, sensing a profound change in her. "She's strangely different from before," he muses, clearly unsettled by her recent performance. His thoughts turn to the Makashian monster, baffled by how Hyun Juyeon knew its weakness. He suspects she's hiding something, her knowledge far too precise to be mere luck. But then, a more pressing question consumes him. Okay fine, Makashian is one thing, but what about Seo Dojin? He wonders, utterly baffled by Dojin's survival and power. "What?" he whispers, the mystery deepening. "Didn't he take down a prosecutor by smashing his head?" he demands, reviewing Dojin's chaotic past. He's also reminded that his cousin, Cheolwoo, was there when Dojin unleashed that savage beating. Hyun Juyeon's words echo, revealing the truth. Kang Cheolwoo initiated the chaos, and his attempt to murder Dojin in the gate failed spectacularly. Even the later fight was his fault. A sinister, knowing smile stretches across Kang Youngpyo's face. He concedes Cheolwoo did something ridiculous, blinded by the paltry sum offered to dispose of Dojin. Kang Youngpyo, still seething over his cousin's humiliation, declares his clear justification for revenge on Co Dojin. This was going to be personal, and very bloody. His female associate, lounging in a plain seat, simply tells him to do what he wants, stating she has no intention of interfering. She's clearly unbothered by his vendetta. Kang Youngpyo is utterly baffled by her indifference. What, he wonders, was their relationship not as good as I thought? A hint of confusion in his usually sinister gaze. The woman simply pulls down her eye mask, dismissing his concerns. There's no need for me to get involved anyway, she states, leaving him even more perplexed. He pours a drink, still reeling from her words. I don't need to interfere, he muses. She said that. Clearly her nonchalance was seriously getting to him. Kang Youngpyo takes a sip of his drink, his red eyes blazing. There's definitely something about that bastard Co Dojin, he growls, convinced Dojin is more than he seems. The scene shifts to England, specifically Long Sutton and Shrewsbury, an area utterly devastated by a recent monster wave. This was the grim aftermath. The British Hero Association is now scrambling, desperate to secure as many mana stones as possible before a terrifying second wave hits. Heroes are being frantically sent into the dangerous rift. Too bad, a hero laments, knowing that if they only had the red flower ant extract, even weak Duranks could easily take down Macashin. Their lack of knowledge was truly infuriating. That's right, another hero agrees, sighing. If the wave had been blocked earlier, this devastated city could have been an incredible source of mana stones. What a wasted opportunity. The UK heroes lament that regions hit by a wave can't be gated again, meaning no more easy mana stone harvesting. And in the second wave, a terrifyingly new monster appears, something even worse than the Macashin. They discuss how terrifying the second wave is because no one knows what kind of monster will show up. Some countries were completely obliterated by this unknown horror. Suddenly, one hero spins around, sensing something is off. His companion asks why he's so alarmed, thinking they're just on patrol. He confirms his gut feeling, believing someone is actually coming out of the rift, but his comrade is baffled, pointing out that the assault team only entered 5 hours ago. They quickly compose themselves, reminding each other to stay vigilant. They know that opportunistic civilians, desperate for mana stones, will try to sneak in. Suddenly, the rift explodes with raw power, sending a jolt of terror through the heroes. One looks utterly shocked, while another, more sinister figure, silently observes. From the heart of the chaos, a shadowy figure emerges, radiating raw, untamed power. He's clearly not just some civilian. The heroes stare in pure terror, realizing this mysterious figure isn't any known hero, commander, or hunter. One frantically screams to contact headquarters, recognizing the sheer danger. Before they can even react, the shadowy figure moves like lightning, effortlessly tossing the two caped heroes aside. They scream in disbelief, completely outmatched. A sword clatters to the ground as the powerful figure stands over the crumpled hero, declaring them too weak. This was less a fight, more a brutal demonstration. The shadowy figure looms, scoffing at how weak these heroes are. Even after 10 years in this new world, they haven't even regained 20% of their true strength, yet they still steamroll everything in sight. He surveys the two crumpled heroes, wondering if his attempt to trigger a dimensional rift failed. He concludes he needs to dramatically increase his mana, starting right now. The defeated hero looks up, barely conscious, begging to know who this terrifying figure is, but he just stares down, silently, ready to move on. Before all that, he casually holds a blade to his lips, a chilling calm before the inevitable storm. He's got something else in mind. With glowing red eyes and radiating power, he decides it's time to start wiping out anyone as weak as bugs. No more holding back. The scene shifts to South Korea, Paju, a fortified compound nestled among lush green mountains. This hidden sanctuary looks ready for anything. Back in a serene South Korean field, Dojin strolls casually, carrying a bag over his shoulder. He looks calm and collected, a stark contrast to his earlier demonic form. Suddenly, the ground explodes as a terrifying worm-like monster with multiple mouths and deadly spikes erupts. This beast looks like pure nightmare fuel. Dojin's hand reaches towards the ground. Sensing the monstrous presence, he calmly notes that there are 26 of them within a 100-meter radius. With a sinister smirk and blazing eyes, Dojin holds a ball of raw, destructive fire in his hand. He wonders how many of these new monsters will survive his coming assault. Dojin's casual fire attack detonated on the unsuspecting monsters, leaving a smoking crater in the peaceful field. This was just a warm-up. Boom, 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 the ground fractured as waves of pure energy exploded across the field, annihilating everything in sight. This guy was really having fun. Elsewhere, an elder hero sips his mug, pondering a mysterious figure. What kind of person was he muses, clearly intrigued by the enigma. His associate, a stern man in glasses, confirms the mystery man was a young man who was hard to deal with. Sounds like a handful. Min Honggi, deputy director of the Korea Hero Association, formally announces that the mysterious man is, indeed, a confirmed hero. The bureaucracy finally caught up. Didn't the device say he was unmeasurable? The elder hero presses, clearly still confused. His subordinate simply shrugs, admitting he has no answer for that one. Park Sung-chul, the vice president of the Korea Hero Association, rages, slamming his fist. What an insolent brat, he seethes, demanding answers to everything. The arrogant vice president lets out a dismissive scoff, unaware of the ominous warning to his side. Something else was coming for him. The elder hero presses for more information, asking if they found anything else. His subordinate, hesitant, admits, not much, but it all began with a malicious plan by Hero Kong Chilwo, and now a terrifying, colossal worm monster erupts from the earth. Looks like Dojin's past just caught up to him. Dojin, the man who awakened during a near-death gate incident, is now face-to-face with a monster from his past. His eyes blaze with fire. He later took brutal revenge on Kong Chilwo, and effortlessly handled every monster that appeared in Mappo, all by himself. He definitely doesn't need a team to clean up. His methods were a little over the top, but one thing became clear: this guy was a force of nature, a one-man army. A serious-looking official simply confirmed the undeniable truth. CO Dojin's strength was absolutely overwhelming. The elder hero mused that Dojin was a wild horse, hard to control, but at least his loyalty was surprisingly steadfast. Someone needed to train this guy, but he was loyal to his chosen few. He had even requested an official hero license, casually demanding they skip procedures because he had a guarantor, and the guarantor, apparently, was someone from the association. The official revealed the guarantor's name, none other than Hyun Juyeon, the S-rank hero. That explains a lot. Dojin, now holding his shiny new B-rank hero license, was officially recognized. He was ready to start collecting and climbing the ranks. Now, with his license, he could hunt as much as he wanted in the rift zones, leaving behind a trail of monstrous worm corpses. Not bad for a day's work. They marveled at Dojin's audacity, realizing he went straight to the Payu rift zone as soon as he got his license. What an amazing, reckless guy, they thought, his speed truly extraordinary. The officials couldn't believe it, screaming Dojin had just charged into a level 2 rift, completely alone. Still shocked, the vice president quickly changed his tune, demanding they promote Dojin to their 8th S-rank hero if he somehow returned alive. This guy was really riding on Dojin's impossible luck. But the deputy director calmly interjected, reminding them that an S-rank hero might have his own opinions, like not wanting fame. The vice president, however, was only worried about public relief during these chaotic times. The vice president pressed the president for agreement, but the room was met with a heavy, telling silence. Not everyone was convinced by his PR stunt. The president finally spoke, acknowledging both opinions with a serene calm that belied his true thoughts. He was clearly brewing his own plan. With a determined glint in his eye, the president made a startling announcement. He declared he would go meet this mysterious hero himself, no matter the danger. Back in the rift, Dojin stood casually, surrounded by the terrifying worm monsters that filled the sky. They just kept coming, but he looked completely unbothered. With a casual flick of his wrist, a blinding explosion of fire erupted, instantly obliterating the monstrous worms around him. They simply vanished into thin air. Dojin stood atop the colossal corpse of a defeated monster, plumes of smoke rising from his hand. The clear blue sky was a stark contrast to the destruction he just unleashed. He wiped a bead of sweat from his brow, realizing even his immense power came with a cost. He arrived at the Gazan Hero Complex, a bustling hub for heroes, ready for whatever this world had to offer. This place, he hoped, would have what he needed to truly unlock his power. He stood at the entrance of a weapon shop, where a stern-faced craftsman demanded a reservation. Dojin, the sword god, apparently needed an appointment to get proper gear in this new world. Dojin presented a piece of monster byproduct, declaring his intent to have it forged into a weapon. The craftsman looked baffled by the raw, dangerous material. The craftsman flatly refused, reiterating the reservation-only rule and telling Dojin to take his monstrous request elsewhere. He clearly didn't know who he was dismissing. Dojin glared, pointing out the craftsman's hypocrisy. He clearly knew the shop had open slots and even got a direct call, yet still refused him. The craftsman desperately claimed to be fully booked, insisting Dojin go elsewhere, and even condescendingly boasted about the neighborhood's skilled craftsman. He was trying to get rid of Dojin, badly. Dojin's patience snapped, grabbing the startled craftsman. "Are you the boss?" he demanded, only to hear, "I'm the son," as chaos erupted. Dojin's eyes blazed with terrifying power as he coldly commanded the son to call his father. Right now he had come here because he heard this place was supposedly good, and he intended to see that for himself. The terrified son screamed for his father, frantically claiming a customer was waiting. It was less an announcement, more a desperate plea for rescue. The legendary Choi Chokwan, hero weapon craftsman, appeared, his eyes narrowed in suspicion. He immediately demanded to know who dared to introduce a customer so boldly to his reserved establishment. Dojin calmly reveals the name, Hyun Juyeon. The legendary craftsman's eyes narrow, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. The craftsman, clearly surprised, asks if Juyeon truly sent him here. Dojin ignores the question, casually pulling out something long and ominous from his bag. Both the craftsman and his son gasp in shock, their eyes wide with disbelief at the sight of the item in Dojin's hand. "Father, what is that?" the son stammers, utterly bewildered. Dojin holds up the monstrous piece, revealing it to be the tip of a giant black killer fawn. "It's been a long time," he muses, a dangerous glint in his eye. He casually requests a moderately sleek sword, made as long as humanly possible, from the terrifying fawn. The craftsman stares, utterly baffled, asking, "Long?" The craftsman lectures Dojin on weapon durability, claiming non-metallic materials weaken if stretched too much. He insists he'll make 2 medium-sized blades instead. Dojin's eyes narrow, his expression a chilling challenge. "Are you trying to confess your lack of skill or something?" he asks, openly daring the legendary craftsman. Dojin reiterates his demand, insisting they connect the pieces into one long blade. He needs a long one, and that's final. He then adds, as if it's an afterthought, to increase the mana absorption as much as possible. His power radiates, emphasizing his intent. The son explodes in rage, utterly insulted. "Look at this guy," he screams, "we lack skill," then boasts about his father only making weapons with at least grade 3 mana absorption. Dojin coolly assesses the material, concluding it's a grade 5. He then muses that this level of mana absorption is far beyond the craftsman's boasts. Dojin, radiating raw power, demonstrates the material's true grade 5 absorption. The stunned craftsmen finally witness real power, their boasts now hollow. With a surge of destructive power, Dojin shatters the lesser material in his hands. This was a brutal lesson in true strength. Dojin glares, condemning their shoddy work as mere garbage. He warns them to stop now, or face his wrath. The scene shifts abruptly to a dangerous rift zone. A colossal, one-eyed monster charges, its roar shaking the very ground. Dojin strolls through the misty forest, utterly unbothered by the monster's roar. Some people just can't stand loud noises, even in a death trap. Dojin leaps, a blur of fiery destruction, soaring above the colossal beast. This monster was about to get a very rude awakening. His blazing fist slams into the monster's face with brutal force, tearing through flesh and bone. This was a one-hit knockout, guaranteed. The monster's eye bulges, its silent scream of pure agony echoing through the rift. "Game over, big guy." The colossal monster dissolves into shimmering green energy, leaving only dust and broken dreams. Dojin just casually cleared another boss, without even a scratch. Dojin's flaming fist slammed into the colossal monster's chest, the impact echoing through the rift. This was just another Tuesday for him, but a devastating one for the monster. His hand glowed, enveloped in furious flames, sinking deeper into the monster's flesh. This was a guaranteed one-hit knockout, no doubt about it. With a final, terrifying blast of fire, the massive monster detonated, leaving nothing but a lingering inferno in its wake. Another powerful boss, completely obliterated. Dojin walked away casually from the colossal, vanquished beast, his glowing red mana sword still in hand. Just another monster, easily taken down, and another step closer to his true strength. He sighed, realizing his mana sword was draining his power far too quickly. Maintaining such an intense, fiery blade was proving to be a challenge. He then casually tucked a baby bottle into his bag, an odd choice for a monster hunter. He was clearly preparing for something unusual. The baby bottle, now strangely filled with a crimson liquid, was gently placed on a blood-stained cloth. This was definitely not for feeding, but something far more ominous. He announced his triumph over a cyclops, holding up the baby bottle containing a horrifying, shrunken head. Apparently, this was his way of collecting trophies. The weapon shop son gasped, utterly horrified by the grim trophy in the bottle. Dojin calmly instructed him to tell his father that with this, he could easily connect 2 black killer fangs. Dojin casually walked away, leaving the screaming son completely flabbergasted. "Hey," the son yelled, "you should at least tell me what this is before leaving." Dojin walks under the night sky, casually musing that while he has all the basic materials, he needs something special to truly enhance his mana absorption. He's got a plan, and it involves some serious power-up. His eyes blaze, reflecting a dangerous resolve for the ultimate safety and power. He knows there's only one place on Earth powerful enough for his next move. The scene shifts to a vibrant pool party, filled with laughter and splashing, a stark contrast to Dojin's grim determination. Life goes on, oblivious to the power brewing in the shadows. Meanwhile, a phone vibrates, displaying CO Dojin as the caller. Someone important is trying to reach him, interrupting his quiet plans. Han Juyan, in her stylish sunglasses, answers the call, her expression shifting to one of confusion. "What?" she questions, clearly surprised by the news. In the middle of a relaxing pool, Han Juyan pushes up her sunglasses, her face contorted in disbelief. "Brazil," she gasps, clearly caught off guard by the unexpected location. Han Juyan discusses the shocking news with a friend. The Hero Association and the Brazilian government are teaming up for a massive, large-scale operation to close a rift zone. Her friend casually explains that while the Brazilian monsters are incredibly violent, they also drop a huge amount of mana stones. The pay was good enough, so their guild decided to take the high-risk, high-reward mission. Han Juyan's face hardens with determination. "Let's go together," she declares, then adds, "and bring that man," leaving her friend utterly confused by the mysterious request. Dojin stands alone, emanating an ominous aura, as a new rumor circles among heroes. Is he the rumored 8th class? His potential connection to Han Juyan, even sparking dating rumors, leaves her completely flustered and denying everything. Han Juyan's friend teases her, playfully suggesting she saw them lovingly sharing a snack. The S-rank hero is utterly flustered by the dating rumors, denying everything. Her excited friend is ready to go, cheering about the upcoming mission, but then, a sudden thought makes her pause, a big but hanging in the air. She confesses her biggest concern, wondering if that guy will actually join them on the mission. An ominous glowing orb in the sky adds to the mystery. The legendary craftsman looks utterly baffled, sweating profusely. He frantically wonders how on earth they found this out, clearly agitated by some shocking news. He stares in disbelief at the strange material, utterly bewildered. How, he wonders, did Dojin know Cyclops' blood could perfectly fuse non-metallic materials like this? The craftsman, still confused, agrees to forge Dojin's custom weapon, a massive 180 cm two-handed sword, surprisingly light at 5 kilograms, but designed for a single hand. The craftsman looks suspiciously at Dojin, musing about his sudden polite speech. He's baffled, thinking he was just a thug, but now he's showing basic manners. He ponders Dojin's request, realizing this weapon must be incredibly precious to him, yet questioning how anyone could possibly swing a 5 kilograms blade with just one hand. Dojin accepts the craftsman's terms, then casually asks about the completion time, only to be told it will take at least a month. His expression remains unreadable. Dojin's eyes blaze with pure power, silently questioning if even a grade 7 weapon can truly handle his full, terrifying strength. Dojin's eyes narrow in resolve, confirming his suspicions he'll need something beyond a mere grade 7 weapon to truly unleash his power. He instructs the craftsman to just shape the blade for now, promising to bring the ultimate material later for mana absorption. He's already got a plan for an impossible upgrade. The legendary craftsman stares after Dojin, utterly bewildered. He can't believe this guy is serious about bringing in even more powerful material. Under the full moon, the craftsman's doubt echoes. Can this mysterious man truly obtain the legendary material needed for a weapon beyond imagination? A few days pass, and the vibrant cityscape of Seoul continues its bustling life. The calm before the storm. Dojin stands beside a gleaming luxury car, accepting a generous gift. He thanks someone unseen, hinting at a new acquisition. Han Juyan, the S-rank hero, casually dismisses the luxurious car, asking Dojin if he thinks she's small for accepting something worth 100 million won. She's clearly flexing her wealth. Dojin smirks back, a knowing glint in his eye. He states that 100 million won car is appropriate for someone of her stature, perhaps a subtle jab at her earlier attempts to brush him off. Han Juyan looks concerned, asking Dojin if something is amiss with the Hero Association. Her gaze shifts to the side, noticing 2 figures approaching from the car. Dojin looks furious, revealing the Hero Association is publicizing his identity. He tells Hyunjin he demanded they pay the price, leaving her utterly baffled and questioning how he could demand such a thing from Chairman Na Taewang. Dojin casually opens the car door, concluding that his negotiation with the Hero Association is settled. Hyunjin, however, is clearly annoyed, telling him to behave appropriately and consider her position as his guarantor. Hyunjin, looking stressed, reveals the Hero Association is in chaos due to the collapse of the Brazil stronghold. She tells Dojin they can talk to the chairman about his demands once things calm down, and Dojin reacts to the mention of Brazil. Yes, Brazil, she confirms, stating they're shutting down part of the stronghold zone. Dojin's fist clenches, a flicker of raw power in his grip. Hyunjin asks Dojin, looking surprised, if he's also going to Brazil. Her eyes sparkle with a mix of curiosity and concern. I'll go, Dojin calmly states, already making up his mind. Hyunjin immediately asks why, clearly taken aback by his decision to plunge into yet another dangerous rift. Dojin looks directly at Hyunjin, his eyes blazing with resolve. Let's go with me, he demands, an almost magnetic intensity in his gaze. The sinister man, Kang Yongpyo, looks up with glowing eyes, utterly bewildered. Huh, he scoffs, you want how much more, clearly reacting to an absurd demand. Kang Yongpyo, still smirking, scolds Hong Heeju for being stingy, while she rages about the 30 billion won she's already paid him. This guy is a master at shaking people down for more money. Hong Heeju fumes, demanding to know when Kang Yongpyo plans to actually work, cursing herself for relying on him. He just laughs, mocking her, asking who else would even accept such a request. Kang Yongpyo smugly boasts there are plenty of killers who work for a price, implying her intel is outdated. He even offers to throw in some free information, clearly reveling in his control over the situation. Kang Yongpyo's smirk widens as he drops a bombshell. Seo Dojin is not just alive, he's actually an S-rank hero, the 8th in South Korea. This free information just changed everything. Hong Heeju's face contorts in fury and disbelief, screaming that it must be a scam on S-rank, that bastard, it was impossible. Kang Yongpyo scoffs at her disbelief, reminding her this isn't free information. He coolly advises her to just wait until Dojin inevitably blows everything up, then she'll believe him. Hong Heeju frantically screams for him to wait, utterly panicked by his casual dismissal and the shocking revelation. Hong Heeju collapses into her chair, a desperate question echoing in her mind. Is Dojin truly an S-rank, she wonders, the terrifying thought finally sinking in. Her face contorts in pure anguish, realizing an S-rank hero is beyond her control. She screams that she'll pay even more, desperately pleading for him to just do something to solve this nightmare. Kang Yongpyo turns back, a sly smirk on his face. Money is important, he muses, but a steady business partnership would be even better, implying a long-term, lucrative deal. Hong Heeju ignores his proposition, her voice hoarse with desperation. Whatever it takes, she begs, just make sure Dojin dies, as a phone rings ominously in the background. Hong Heeju looks utterly baffled by the sudden, cryptic message. What on earth did he mean by the heavens watching over her, she wondered, a chill running down her spine. Kang Yongpyo's grin widens, his eyes blazing with a sinister red glow. He promises a perfect opportunity to finally kill Seo Dojin is about to present itself. The stage is set, a plane soaring towards Brazil, carrying heroes towards their next dangerous mission. Inside, S-rank Hyunjin sits, oblivious to the sinister plots brewing and the comments swirling about the awesome operation. Jang Seongo, another hero, is also on board, apparently a solo powerhouse known for pushing through dangerous missions. The comments are buzzing, wondering if he's getting paid extra for this high-stakes Brazil operation. Then there's this guy, likely Park Hae-il, whose entire guild supposedly totally crumbled. Clearly, he's here for the money, desperate to rebuild his fortune, and the internet is speculating exactly that. Even S-rank Hyunjin is here, though comments are less about her power and more about her looks or her money grubbing. In Brazil, the public is a brutal judge, even for heroes. Another hero, calm and composed, joins the flight, as online chatter speculates about the massive payouts and tax-free magic stone spoils from this mission. This Brazil operation is rumored to be a jackpot for all involved. But then there's Dojin, casually slurping noodles, his name sparking confused whispers online. They're wondering if he's a rookie, or if Brazil is his debut mission, completely unaware they're sharing a plane with a former sword god. Finally, the plane descends, revealing the vast, emerald expanse of the Brazilian jungle below. The stage is set for a chaotic, brutal encounter, and everyone is about to step into the heart of the beast.